It's a picture-perfect Sunday afternoon at Sonoma Raceway, just north of San Francisco. And while the NASCAR playoffs have just got underway, today is the championship race for the Verizon IndyCar Series. Coincidentally, the two drivers remaining in today's title decider are both from Team Penske, an organization celebrating its 50th year in motorsport. The points leader is Simon Pagenaud, looking for his first IndyCar championship. Winless in his first campaign with Penske a year ago, Pagenaud came out firing this season, winning 4 times and leading the points since the second race in April. But the teammate trailing him is Will Power, 2014 Series champion and winner here 3 of the last 6 years. Power missed the first race of the season, stepping out of the car with an illness, but won 4 races during the summer. A late race crash 2 weeks ago put Power 43 points behind his teammate. But with double points on offer today, it's either driver's championship. The job for Simon Pagenaud today, stay in front of Will Power. Accomplish that and his first title becomes a reality. But if Power can win at Sonoma for a 4th time in 7 years, the title is his if Pagenaud finishes 6th or worse. One thing's for certain, Roger Penske will cap his 50th season as team owner with an IndyCar title. But it will likely take all 85 laps today to determine who'll be agonizing and who'll be celebrating. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon, where we set the stage for today's championship race. 22 cars will take to the grid here at Sonoma Raceway today, but the focal point, of course, will be on just 2, the title contenders. And guess what? It gets even better, because as we take a look at the first few rows of the grid, the Penske boys start on the first 2. Yes, Penske cars 1, 2, 3, and 4. And those 2 title contenders are here with me on the grid at the moment. Of course, Will Power doing the chasing in second, Simon Pagenaud, the championship leader. So here we are. It all comes down to this. You're racing to have your name on the Astor Cup. How are the emotions now? How do you feel? Yesterday was a pretty big statement, and everyone's saying there are no championship nerves. Is that the case?
I feel really good. I feel very relaxed. I've been in this position before in other series, and it really helps. But certainly, it's down to the wire. It should be an exciting race against Will. We're only racing him today, so it's a little bit different than any other weekends. Obviously, strategy is what worries me the most, but hopefully there's no outside factors that takes us out of it.
Will, you told me the other day, yes, you know that it's going to be tough because he's now 44 points out in front because of that bonus point for the pole position. But you said, you know what, there's a little bit of pressure off me. I'm already a champion. My name's already up there. And to do what I've got to do really suits me. That is attack. You still feel that way?
Yeah, I do. You know, I think you've got to be smart at the beginning of the race and make sure you give yourself a chance. You know, it's like Simon said, you know, I think strategy is really the thing that's going to help me win the championship today. I think it's a pretty straightforward race. It's tough, you know, with Simon starting on pole, but as we've seen in IndyCar, you know, anything can happen. Yellows can fall at any time, and, you know, there can be pretty mixed up results, and that's kind of what we need.
So Will says anything could happen. You've got Penske cars, as we said, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Your whole team occupy the first 2 rows. Are you happy about that, or are you somewhat anxious about that? Because for Helio Castroneves and Juan Pablo Montoya, they've got nothing to lose. They can really go for this. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm just going to do exactly what I've been doing. I'm going to race for myself. Can't rely on my 22 team. It's been a tremendous whole season, and just go as hard as I can. Obviously, you got to be smart, but you got to be smart realistically at the end of the race when you know what the chess game really is.
And you were part of this last year because Montoya was going for the title last year, and you two had contact. How do you feel about the whole team being together?
It's, I mean, obviously it's great to start, you know, all 4 cars at the front. Yeah, I know Helio and Juan are very keen to have a great day today. You know, they know that the championship is won by Penske, so, you know, the pressure's not on them to kind of hang back and not have, you know, race their teammates hard. So, you know, I think they're going to play a part in this. You know, I need them to attack, but then I need to beat them too. You know, I really need to win the race to have a really good shot at it.
Simon, are you surprised that you're standing in this position? This time 12 months ago, you were ending your first season with Team Penske, and it was deemed like a settle-in year. This year, you've almost looked like a different driver, so this was just plan complete?
It's never planned. I mean, it's racing. You never know what's going to happen next, but we worked so hard over the winter trying to understand how we were going to get to that level. And again, the 22 team was brand new. We assembled people from the other cars with new people coming from other teams, and it really it really is an incredible team. It just took us time to get to know each other and have the same spirit about racing and approach. I think we've done just that. The confidence is high, and I think that's why we're doing so well.
Okay, should we treat this like a heavyweight bout? You want to shake? You want to shake now? Best of luck. Didn't he say he was just listening to rocky music?
He was.
Townsend, Paul, there they are, the title contenders, and it's all ahead of them. 85 laps to come.
Well, thanks, Lee. Clearly a lot of psychological perspectives on the championship there, but let's look at some of the data behind these two contenders. 4 wins apiece on this season. Now, interestingly enough, Pagenaud, of course, 15 races to Will Power's 14 because Power missed the season opener at St. Petersburg. But, Paul, if we look at their history here at Sonoma, it tells a different story.
Look at this. 7 starts for Power, 5 poles, 3 wins, 4 podiums, 0 wins for Simon Pagenaud. The upper hand goes to Will Power, but Simon Pagenaud really gave him almost a knockout blow yesterday.
Yeah, Pagenaud, his pace is incredibly strong. I don't know how you beat him here unless something happens that's a little bit off script through the rest of the field, and we've seen that before with the Penske teammates, which he'll start around today. Now, this was last year. We're on board with Juan Pablo Montoya, who was leading the championship at the time, but got together with his teammate, Will Power. Just as Power came across the nose of Montoya, that damaged Montoya's wing, and that factored heavily at the end of the day as he tied with Scott Dixon on points. So teammates can definitely factor into this. And with Montoya, you and I talked to him before this race. You had him by those big Colombian chops. You started the statement by saying, listen, you little punk. How did you finish that?
I said, I want to see the old Montoya today. You started off the season with a win. I want to see a win at the end of the season. And we actually caught all the guys very loose and casual, no PR talk. Will said, I'm going for it. Castro Neves said, I'm going for it. And then Roger came out of the trailer, and he said, I walked up to Roger and I said, what do you do with these 4 guys? He goes, hey, last year we over-choreographed things and we really stepped on it. This year, we're going to let these guys race just like this right here.
And they did it at Mid-Ohio. These were the last 2 laps of the race, Power versus Pagenaud. Lots of contact, pushing around. They both made it to the finish line, congratulated each other for great racing at the end, and I think it's terrific that Team Penske is going to allow all their drivers to go for wins today. It should be fun.
It sure will be fun, and it's especially fun if you're part of Team Penske, guaranteed the championship. And the captain's men have notched up 13 open-wheel titles across 8 different drivers. A couple of them are here today, Gilles de Ferran and Rick Mears, and of course Will Power in the hunt. Now, speaking of the man he's fighting, Simon Pagenaud, he's going to carry our Verizon IndyCar Mobile today. And if you want to download IndyCar Mobile to access exclusive live and in-car cameras, hear driver and pit crew chatter, and a whole lot more, you can download it only from Verizon. And doesn't that paint a beautiful picture? It is a terrific California-style day. We say thanks for watching IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. It's Championship Day. For the 11th consecutive year, the Verizon IndyCar Series title will be decided at the final race. Then there were 2. Simon Pagenaud and Will Power. Teammates early in their career, Will quickly rose as the leader of the 2, while Simon studied his counterpart. Many years later, and driving for different teams, would not keep the 2 apart with incidents at Long Beach and Detroit. 2015 paired the Aussie and the Frenchman as teammates again, driving for Roger Penske, a man who has led legends of the sport to championship titles. Excellence has been the trademark of this year, with both drivers tied at 4 wins apiece. But with the highs, there were also lows, with Power missing the first race due to a medical condition, and Pagenaud suffering mechanical issues at Road America, then crashing in Pocono. But today, Roger Penske is set to win another championship in his 50th year as team owner. 2 drivers and 85 laps to decide who'll become the next IndyCar champion. It is a championship-style day in wine country, California, as we welcome you to NBCSN's coverage of the Verizon IndyCar Series, and it is the Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. so much build-up, and when you can have the championship decided at the final opportunity, it's what everybody looks forward to, and it is hot here today. 95 degrees, 120-degree track temperature. The teams and drivers are going to be working for their money today. Right now, it's time to the command.
Race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome celebrity chef Aisha Curry to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
There's a sense of anticipation here in the Pagenaud camp where he has surrounded himself by friends and family. Both his mother and father are here, and his sister flew in for a surprise visit along with friends and, of course, his girlfriend Haley and their family. They all want to be here and witness firsthand what they think is going to be a breakthrough championship for Simon. Kevin?
And Jan Will Power also has a large family contingent, and they know that it is going to be tough sledding for Power to win his second championship. Starting 3 positions behind, as he said, it really is a must-win situation. He needs some help, but he's not going to be overly aggressive at the start and get it all back. Just be smart, Katie.
Kevin, Elio Castroneves may not be in the hunt for the Astro Cup with his teammates, but he's locked in a battle of his own for third in the championship standings with Scott Dixon. And of course, Elio would like to secure that position today with a win, especially since it's been more than 2 years and 44 races since the 3-car parked in victory lane. But Elio thinks he has something his teammates don't to complete a sweep for Team Penske this weekend. Robin?
Last year, Juan Montoya won the Indy 500 for Roger Penske. This year, he opened the season with a victory. Amazingly enough, he thinks this is his last race for Roger Penske. He thinks he's out, being replaced, because Penske only wanted him to ride the Indy 500 next year, and he wants to be a full-time IndyCar driver. He's been talking to Chip Ganassi. He's been talking to Ed Carpenter. A.J. Foyt's got a cell phone number. It's hard to imagine Montoya not being back with Penske, but this is probably his last race for the captain. And I got news for you. If I'm Power and Pagenaud, I'm looking in the rearview mirror because he's going for it.
Perhaps going out with a bang as far as his Penske tenure is concerned. Katie raised the point, guys, about this race for third, and look how many are still mathematically able to get a top 3 finish in the championship.
Yeah, with double points on offer from Dixon to Munoz, about 50 points there, so a lot can happen for that third place position.
Watch out for Graham Rahal today. He's had a really quick car and really jumped up into the Fast 6 yesterday. I talked to him this morning. He says he likes his car and he thinks he's got a good chance at a win as well.
All season long, we've shown you Honda's fastest seeded sports sweepstake winners. The contest has been a great success with thousands of entries at racewithhonda.com. Well, we've got a surprise for you today. A very special guest, San Antonio Spurs NBA star Kawhi Leonard. How's the ride, Kawhi?
They always love me. I'm having fun out here.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. As you know, you're riding with a legend, Mario Andretti, enjoying the California sunshine here at Sonoma Raceway, and he's going to start today's race. Enjoy it. All right, so as Kawhi and Mario enjoy their time around, tell us where they're going, Townsend.
Well, smack dab in the middle of wine country sits Sonoma Raceway. Tough to appreciate the elevation change from this aerial view, but down in turn 1, it climbs uphill rapidly, and on the start, look for a lot of potential chaos. We've seen this in the past, especially in that mid-pack 2013. It all went wrong there for Charlie Kimball as we watch on board. He gets turned sideways, does a bit of a rail slide there on the apex curb, and then this. 2014, a bunch of cars taken out in the first corner. So 2 out of the last 3 years, we've seen chaos right at the start of the race, and we'll be watching heavily in that mid-pack of the group. But as the track continues down in turn 7, this is another area where we've seen drama in the past. Heavy brake zone, slowest corner on the track. But this place is a sweet place to drive.
Let's take a look at how they'll line up with the Mother's Polished starting grid. We've already told you the story multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, Team Penske. Paul Tracy said watch out for Graham Rahal. He's the first non-Penske, and Ryan Hunter-Reay leads the charge for Andretti Autosport.
Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay just signed a 4-year contract extension with the sponsor DHL. He's confident. He knows where he's going to be. A lot of these guys, though, do not have their futures assured to them, Tony Kanaan being one of them.
Tony Kanaan, Marco Andretti has been super quick all weekend, frustrated after qualifying. Look for him to move forward. He wants to finish his season off with a good result.
As we do each and every round of the Verizon IndyCar Series, we show you some pretty cool onboards. James Hinchcliffe has the Lucas Oil onboard. We switch over to TK, Tony Kanaan, and that's provided by NTT Data. His teammate, Scott Dixon, doesn't have a sponsor for this weekend, but you know what? We're going to say thank you and farewell to Target. So we'll call it the Target onboard in their final race with Chip Ganassi. Graham Rahal carries the Steak and Shake onboard camera, and for Will Power, it's all thanks to Verizon. As for his teammate, Simon Pagenaud, he's got the Verizon streaming camera. You can download IndyCar Mobile to access exclusive live in-car cameras, hear driver and pit crew chatter, and a whole lot more, only from Verizon. We ride with the championship leader. Jan mentioned about friends and family coming over. Simon's best friend from France has flown over. Guess what his name is?
What's that?
Elvis. Ready to rock and roll here at Sonoma Raceway. Is it going to go the championship leader's way? Will there be a surprise or shock winner? What are the other two Penske guys going to do? And let's not forget, you got Scott Dixon not in a title shot. He wants to end the year on a high note as well.
That's a slow pack up here. Simon is bringing him down really slow. Everybody's lined up.
One last time in 2016. Round 16 in Sonoma Raceway. It's time to bring the action.
Castroneves tried to jump things there, had to hold up, allow Pagenaud to set the pace. Let's see what happens here. Turn 2.
Powers ahead of Montoya, Rahal, and cleanly through turn 2, PT.
And that's exactly what the series wants, the captain wants, everybody through turn 1 clean. We're halfway around the first lap. Kanaan drops it in the dirt. A little bit of action here, some locking up, but it looks like it's going to be a clean first lap. Hunter Ray making a move.
Newgarden got by Hunter Ray. That was pretty savvy stuff.
Well, the one that's breathing the greatest sigh of relief is Simon Pagenaud. That's the start he needed. Clean. Look at the gap he's going to build now on Castroneves if he can as they come to turn 7. Marco Andretti off at the dirt further back.
A long climb up this hill. It's not a steep gradient, but it's long. Around goes Aloshin. Did he get tagged by Kanaan?
I believe like he got touched in the rear by Kanaan. He spins it back around. I think we're going to have no yellow. If Kanaan didn't stall, I think he might be stalled.
Even if he is stalled, if I'm Tony Kanaan, I'm going to just sit there and maybe shut the engine off and get the yellow, right? Hope I get restarted and bunch back up. Otherwise, the gap is going to be massive.
I think he's going to have a hard time to not lose a lap here if they don't go yellow, because they're already at the start-finish line. This is the last corner, and I'm afraid that if they go yellow by turn 1, he's going to lose a lap.
Well, we're still green.
Yep, still green. The double yellows were there in the flag stand, but they were not shown. Simon Pagenaud, Elio Castroneves, Will Power, Juan Pablo Montoya. Kanaan does get going.
He did by help of the safety team there. You just see the Homaltro guys. They did go onto the track, start him up. Now they'll try to get out of the way to stay green. Let's see what happened here.
Watch the blue and red car, and then watch the NTT Data, the blue and white car. Watch Kanaan on the inside.
And Kanaan was making a move on Sebastian Bourdais, and I think had such a run, he thought, well, let me see if I can sneak outside of Aloshin. Let's see onboard from TK here.
Clear by 4.
No, the engine did stall there. There you see Aloshin spinning around. So unfortunately for Kanaan, now he is way back, about 30 seconds back of Aloshin, 45 seconds back of Simon Pagenaud.
Front wing looked a little bit flexy. It looked like it might be broken or cracked. He'll might have to change that on the stop, see how it holds up. These cars are pretty resilient. Guys have run with broken front wings, but Pagenaud right now, just ahead of his teammate. There's a little gap back to Power. Juan Pablo right behind him, so he is controlling the pace, probably wanting to make the fuel mileage number, and tire wear this weekend is going to be key. How long can he go and make the tires last?
Well, at 120-degree track temperature, it'll be very difficult for everybody here who started on the Firestone alternates, with the exception being Connor Daly, that started on the Firestone Blacks.
James Hinchcliffe has made up 5 positions as we give you the Firestone telemetry. Have you seen James of late? He is a superstar on Dancing with the Stars, currently tied for the lead on the current season of that show, and his dancing partner Shana Burgess was here earlier in the week watching what James does for his regular job. But good start, making up 5 positions in the early laps is good going.
All clear behind.
There's Shana. She was here on Friday, not just to observe what Hinch was doing, but to go for a two-seater ride.
Yeah, and I think he absolutely gave it everything he's got here to impress his dancing partner, and that's not a lot of fun, Paul, if you don't have any experience as a passenger in one of these things.
No,
it's bumpy.
I've been in one. I don't like being in the back, but it looks like she loved it, and we wish those two good luck and maybe a championship with the dancing moves.
Strike a pose, so to speak. Back to the action, and championship leader is the race leader as things start to get into some form of rhythm. Tony Kanan's playing catch-up. Incidentally, to your point, PT, he radioed in just recently and said, from his vantage point, no damage.
That's good. He's got an opportunity. He's too far behind now to go off sequence. He'll lose the lap, but he's got to get on his bike now and put some distance between Pagenaud, who's probably just driving to maintain the tires. He's got to build a big enough gap to get off sequence and do something different than everybody else.
Well, we're going to get into that zone here real soon, Jan, because where we're talking strategy, talking tyre choice, the majority of the field, except for Connor Daly, all went for the Firestone Reds, perhaps to use them and get rid of them.
Yes, and in fact, you see it's only lap 4. And what we see on the left-hand side here is the pit windows that we are projecting. You say, well, it doesn't open until 16. Well, these are fuel windows, and Paul Tracy already mentioned it, the tire degradation, not necessarily tire wear, but the tire grip starts to go away. Last year, Scott Dixon won this race by stopping on lap 13. See, before the window. I expect today with these hot temperatures, many people will come before the window, making it a 4-stop race or hoping for some yellow. And again, saving those rear tires, just like Paul mentioned, as Scott Dixon's trying to do right now, may be the key.
Well, thanks, Jan. Speaking with Will Power earlier today, he felt that his advantage was on the black tire compound. So Power now just trying to hang on pace on the reds until they can switch for the pit stop.
Up and running in Sonoma, and you're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar. Brought to you by United Rentals, official equipment rental services provider of IndyCar and proud sponsor of Graham Rahal. GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma continues. Early phases, but big distance. Look at those gaps. Simon Pagenaud has already put more than 5 seconds on that man there, his title rival, Will Power. So playing catch up, and he'll be looking forward to getting onto those primary tires. But let's put the spotlight on Simon Pagenaud, Paul and Townsend. I spoke with one of his former team owners this morning, an old friend of mine, Duncan Dayton, who owned the Highcroft sports car team. And I said, in the couple of years that Simon drove for you and won an American Le Mans Series P1 title, why did you hire him? What impressed you about him? And he said, Lee, this guy is the complete package. Over 2 years of high stress, high racing, high risk, high reward, he never lost his cool. He is so in control of his emotions.
Well, he really puts a tremendous amount of effort into preparation. Last offseason, he went straight to work while other guys were on vacation. Simon Pagenaud was in the shop every day with his engineers, studying the data from last season, looking for ways to improve. Now, he didn't show up in the IndyCar Series as a complete package because he didn't have any oval experience. I was his teammate for his first oval race, and I remember vividly at his first test at Texas Motor Speedway, it was like deer in the headlights, like most drivers when they see a high-speed oval for the first time. But this season, he's really optimized his oval driving, and I think the knockout blow yesterday, Paul, was the qualifying performance over Power.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the opportunity to race against him at the end of my career. As we see Alosha now in the pits, he's the first guy to go off sequence here. So I raced against Simon in 07, 08, and, you know, to be honest, I didn't rate him like he was like the business. And after he came to Penske, I said, well, he's got to do something now. And last year was really a disaster for him. And I thought, that's it. He just doesn't have what it takes. But this year, massively impressed. He has been on it all year long. And whenever he has had an issue, he's come back with a vengeance like he's doing right now. Look at the gap he's pulled on Castroneves, Jan.
Well, first of all, let's talk technically, and that is that he is very happy with his car in the rear tire degradation. That's what they worked on this morning. But to cap off what you guys are talking about, He believes what made him faster this year is that he is thinking less. You talk about how he's been going over all the data, and Paul and Townsend, I know you may agree as well. Some of the best days in a race car is when you do it all by instinct. He's been working with meditation and focusing in his thoughts, and when he's out on the racetrack now, not thinking about all that data, just thinking about driving. Kevin?
Jan, for Will Power, we talked with him after qualifying yesterday and mentioned the possibility of going off strategy, starting all the way up in fourth. He said, yeah, that might be something we need to do as we see the gap already that's been built. And Power said today, though, I don't think that's going to be a good idea, because if you come in early in that first stop, that really puts you in a corner that you might be fuel saving. It really limits your options the rest of the way. Now, if we slide a little further back, Power, a three-time winner here, Scott Dixon, a three-time winner here, but it's going to be even harder to win for a fourth time. Not only has he qualified a little further back with brake issues all weekend, starting seventh, he's dropped a couple of more spots. He can't hear the pit stand. They can hear him, but he's not getting any communication on the radio from the pit stands.
Well, that makes it really difficult for a driver and a team on strategy, because effectively all Scott Dixon can do is drive until he sees the fuel number. As we look further back in the field, Hinchcliffe chasing Munoz there. This is the battle for 12th, and there goes Charlie Kimball. That's a pretty early stop, peeling off on lap 10.
Hawksworth came in as well, so Charlie makes it 3 to pit early and make it 4 with R.C. Enison, the young rookie.
3, 2, 1.
And I have to think this pretty much commits them to a 4-stop strategy unless there's a ton of yellow.
All the way on.
Enison pitting now. He's the young rookie, very, very impressive. He's looking for a place next year. It is rumored that Bourdais will go to this team, so that leaves question marks for Enison and Connor Daly. And as we see, Kanaan now finally comes to the pit. Will they change that front wing or not?
That's what we're going to watch for. He did radio in after the contact and the spin that he thought everything was okay, so we'll keep an eye on it. And I do not see a front wing assembly on standby, so they may make just simply some adjustments on the car. So he is going to need some yellow to make it a 3-stop strategy. Primary Firestones, and Kanaan's back out.
Spent the morning warm-up session this morning standing on the Ganassi pit box with Mike Hull, and it was very interesting to listen to the radio communications, and both Tony Kanaan and Scott Dixon were suffering from the same problems. Their feedback was identical.
The communication right now is get going, Tony Kanaan. Cold tires, do not fall a lap down. That's Simon Pagenaud, the race leader, and he's closing fast.
Yeah, he just barely got out in front of Pagenaud, so he's really got to get going on this outlap. But I would expect Pagenaud to not get too racy with him. He's got a big gap. He knows he's got to pit here in probably 3 to 4 more laps. So no point in getting in a situation, because he has a big gap right now to Castro Neves. It's almost 5 seconds. So no point in putting yourself at any risk.
And then where is the championship rival, Will Power? Well, he's more than 7 seconds further back. That's how dominant Simon Pagenaud has been over these opening 10 laps of the Sonoma Indy Grand Prix. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of Indy, brought to you by United Rentals, official equipment rental services provider of IndyCar and proud sponsor of Graham Rahal. About 45 minutes drive from where we are at Sonoma Raceway, one of the most iconic structures anywhere in the world, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. What a day we have here in wine country, and if you're a Simon Pagenaud fan, it is going your way. A little further back, 2 cars that just pitted, Takuma Sato and Andretti Autosport's Carlos Munoz, who Michael Andretti told us yesterday not fully secure for 2017. He wants to keep the young Colombian. They just got to work out a few details.
No, Munoz wants to stay. He's been the highest finishing driver in the points this season for Andretti. Michael Andretti would like to keep him. They have some more work to do, as you said, Lee. But nothing helps that situation more than a good result. You just see our aerial shot cut Munoz tail out, big oversteer coming up and over turn 3.
So Pagenaud leads to the tune of 6.5 seconds over Helio Castro Neves. Will Power third, Montoya fourth, but Montoya's already 10.5 seconds behind the race leader. Graham Rahal is 5th, Rossi 6th, Newgarden 7th, Hunter Ray, Dixon, and Bourdais the top 10.
And I think for Will Power, it could get interesting once he pits for the black tires. Right now, Pagenaud has slowed to a 1:21.3 pace. Kanaan, who's already pitted and gone to the blacks, is in the mid-19s. So about 2 seconds difference. I know Power feels a little bit stronger on the other compound, so he's got to hang in here, Paul, not lose any more distance. He's almost 10 seconds back. He really is going to need a yellow at some point here to stack things up.
Yeah, when we talked to Will this morning, he said the biggest issue he felt was going to be just getting the power down out of this corner and out of the last corner, the throttle modulation. As we hear here, it's really, really slow getting back on the power. The tires want to spin up. It abuses the rear tires. So he's going to be coming here pretty soon. We know that the blacks have more longevity, so look for these guys to go to blacks the rest of the race.
He said that he and Dave Faustino, his race engineer, discussed everything. 3-stopper, 4-stopper. Just we're going to see how it goes, what's going to work out the best in the moment.
Alexander Rossi to the pits. Katie?
And as the rookie pulls into the pit in the season finale, the team is just coming over the radio and updating him on the times of the rest of the field so he can compare himself to those veterans as they go to the Firestone Blacks and fill them up with Sunoco fuel.
Scott Dixon has the pit out stall from winning the pole at Watkins Glen. He has not been having the race weekend that he'd like so far. He said the car's been pretty good. We just don't have enough speed, and this is a little bit slower than they're used to on this stop. It took them a while to get it done, and Dixon is back out after a 12-second stop.
They were doing something in the cockpit. One of the mechanics was reached into the cockpit. That was a 9.5-second stop.
And I'm sure they were working on the radio. Remember, he couldn't hear early on.
Put him all the way back into the clutches of Voloshin, who pitted a lot earlier and had a spin. So not a good pit stop there for Dixon.
Voloshin has really committed to a 4-stop strategy, but for Scott Dixon to pit on lap 15, let's see here. The problem with these radios is the connection is often buried behind or underneath the headrest. It's very difficult to get to, and of course the headrest is all black along with the cockpit. Really hard to see anything. Will Power on pit lane.
And Montoya is there as well. Jan?
Yes, for Juan Pablo, at the pace lap, he had his drink bottle malfunction and said he got soaked. They've been able to resolve that issue. Hopefully he'll have enough water on a very hot day. You can see Power, and first to stop will be Juan Pablo Montoya. We'll see if they make a front wing change. While we do that, let's get to Kevin.
Will Power was really hoping for easy ends, but they had to go around Sebastian Bourdais. That time, Montoya is going to try to beat Power out, but Power will keep that position as they go back up the hill.
Good out from Power to stay out ahead of JPM, Juan Pablo Montoya. So now we wait for the top two in the race. Simon Pageau, Helio Castro-Neves. What will they do? When will they come in? And of course, everyone will be keeping an eye on this first and particularly second lap on these new tires.
Well, certainly these first few corners, we saw a lot of mistakes from Will Power in practice, Paul, leaving the pits on cold tires.
This is exactly when a yellow could come out. If Pagenaud stays out and one of these guys comes out on cold tires and makes a mistake, as Pagenaud peels off now, if one of these guys was to make a mistake and it goes full course yellow, that would be a disaster. But now Pagenaud's committed. He's in the pit window.
Calmly takes a tear off to clear his visibility. Hand on the neutral button, looking for a nice clean stop.
And they're not expected to make any changes, but you may see a wing change, because anytime you go from the red sidewall Firestones to the black, it does make a bit of a balance change on the car. He's been obviously very, very happy. You see Castro-Neves hitting to his spot. Let's watch that with Kevin.
And that worked out way for Pagenaud. There was a little concern that Castro-Neves might be coming over when Pagenaud wanted to pull out. Front wing adjustment was planned for Castro-Neves, and he's back out way behind Simon Pagenaud, and we'll see him battle Will Power coming up the hill now. Power might get a position.
Power does. Rounds up Helio Castro-Neves. So Power on the attack and on the move. But remember the big picture in the championship, folks. If Simon Pagenaud finishes in the top 5, doesn't matter where Power finishes, championship is going Pagenaud's way.
And Pagenaud's team, the 22 crew, had a lightning pit stop, 7 seconds for a full load of fuel, which was probably the fastest pit stop in the pit lane. So the guys in the pit are getting the job done, and this guy right here getting the job done on the track.
But I think it's very big for Will Power. The mistakes I spoke about in practice pay off here in the race, challenging track out as we see Montoya and Castroneves going at it. Further back, Rahal, Daly, and Rossi are all tangled up.
The over-under he tries. These guys are racing in the back. Rossi side by side with one of the, I can't tell which car that is, but he's right behind Graham Rahal. And look at
Connor
Montoya.
Daly.
He's going to try to make a move here. No.
Thought about it and then thought twice. There goes Kimball on Connor Daly down the inside. Connor Daly yet to pit. So Connor's running in the 8th place, but yet to pit.
Here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay now looking to make a move on Connor Daly.
Ryan Hunter-Reay just signed a new contract. They announced DHL 4-year deal. Fantastic news for him.
Hey, Connor, we're going to pit this
It's
lap.
been a really tough week for him and his family, so that's great news for him in the series.
Good
Back up front.
going on, isn't it, here between Castroneves and Montoya.
And just looking at the overtakes, Montoya has used 3, has 7 remaining. Castroneves just 1, 9 left in the race.
The gap is smaller now. Pagenaud had almost a 7 or 8 second lead. Now it's down to 5.4, and it's mano a mano, Power and Pagenaud, 1-2. He's gotten around Castroneves, so now he's got to pull up on Pagenaud, and if he's going to take the fight to him, he's got to make something happen from now till the end of the race.
And we'll really start to analyze pace. Pagenaud and Power, just as a reminder, Pagenaud only has to finish 5th or better to lock it up. Power has to win the race with Pagenaud finishing 6th or worse. But right now, if you're Will Power, you forget about all that. It's what do I need to do corner to corner, apex to apex, to make the pace happen and close the gap.
And go for the win. It's as simple as that. Power must win to stand any chance. And look at that. It'd blow out as they run right now from 44-point advantage to 67 to the favor of the 32-year-old Frenchman.
Now we'll see Pagenaud cross the line at a 120.0. Power 120.6.
There's Connor Daly.
All right, we're going to do no changes. Copy.
In what we understand to be his final drive for Dale Coyne Racing. Not sure what 2017 holds for the young, talented young American just yet. So he's done, was involved in a good scrap just a few moments ago, but not scrapping with anyone is Simon Pagenaud, championship leader, race leader, and he's got a comfortable 6-second lead. Each and every year, the Verizon IndyCar Series does not disappoint, and one of those big stars of action this year has been Graham Rahal, and that Texas finish was unbelievable. I was watching you guys from my hospital bed at the time, and I was like, said to the nurse, hold off on the painkillers, I need to stay awake and watch this. And towards the end, I needed the painkillers. It was nerve-wracking.
It was a sensational finish for Graham Rahal as we ride on board, and I think it was a very smart finish for Simon Pagenaud. At the time, I said that could be the move for Pagenaud that wins him the championship by backing out of a 4-wide situation. But for Graham Rahal, he was only thinking about one thing, winning a race, and I know where he stands in the championship right now, it's all about winning today.
That really boosted his championship because he was hovering down around 8th, 9th, 10th, and it jumped him up into the top 4 or 5, and he's been able to stay there now. Has a shot at the top 3 if he can get a good result here today.
And running all of these green flag laps, we've had no yellow so far. That really plays to the stamina, the strength of a guy like Graham Rahal. He's the biggest, he's the most muscular, he's got big hands, he runs that big wide steering wheel, and that really factors in as guys get tired towards the end of the race, as we see in pit lane, Hawksworth taking a stop.
And to finish off that spot on, that piece on Graham Rahal, I mean, to go with his physical stature, he really grabs it by the scruff of the neck and gives it everything he can. Like yesterday in qualifying, he rode it into the guys and said, boys, that's all I had. I gave it everything. And he made the Firestone Fast 6. Hey, look.
I was going to say, I wonder if he ever considers grabbing the scruff of that neck down there in pit lane.
Robin, are you anywhere near David Letterman?
Well, I try and stay as far away from him as I can. He insults me a lot, Lee, but a good man and a great race fan. I think I'm glad to see him here. I thought he might be at more races since he has nothing to do with his life now except watch television. But we just saw Jack Hawksworth. A.J. Foyt could be looking at having 2 drivers next year. And when we see later on here when things slow down a little bit, we'll give you a silly season update that you're not going to believe, because I don't believe what I'm going to tell you.
There is a lot going on, folks. There are some positions being changed like you wouldn't believe.
Well, interesting to see Hawksworth on push to pass out of the pits. It's all about pace right now. Pitting off strategy. You have to make it work on driving faster than everybody else. There's not going to be a lot of cars for him to pass on that strategy. It's clean racetrack, so he's electing to use the push to pass to generate lap time.
Long way to go still. 85 lap race. We're only 23 into this, so we're only quarter way. We're talking about driver fatigue. It's hot today. It's 90 degrees plus. The track is slick. The red tires don't last long, so a lot of strategy going on here as we see Montoya has slipped back into the clutches of Graham Rahal, who's pushing forward. And look at Castro Neves has now caught the back of Will Power, and Simon Pagenaud has skated away to a 6.5 second lead now.
And that's been stable, hasn't it, Paul? All race long after an excellent start. Got that gap early on, built on it, and has maintained it. So Power might be in second, but he's still a long way back. And now he's going to have to deal with his teammate, who thought he had the pole position yesterday, the Verizon P1 Award, until the very end when Simon Pagenaud laid down a lap that was just electrifying. It devastated Castro Neves, who again, and look guys, he doesn't need our pity, but again Elio comes to a season finale, Paul, and he's not a contender. He knows he can't win. Jan?
Well, let's go through the field, starting with Simon Pagenaud. And of course, when you look at that shot, the long shot, this day at the moment is going absolutely perfect for Simon Pagenaud. You may have noticed that was a 7-second pit stop with no changes. And again, as long as they stay on this strategy, they have 1 lap in hand. Kevin?
Well, for Will Power, this really has been a bonus opportunity to win the championship, because once you miss the season opener, your thoughts are it's probably not going to happen. And he was basically the margin behind coming into this race as he is now, as he was after this first race. So this has been a strong season for Power. He's quite pleased. And Helio Castroneves is looking at another position where he comes up just short of the championship. This is going to be likely the 12th time that he finishes in the top 4 or better. It's been a strong season with a lot of wouldas and couldas, but he's already thinking about what might happen next year. Jan?
And of course, Juan Pablo Montoya comes up here with the other Penske entry, now getting some heat from behind from Graham Rahal. But I have a feeling when we do get to that silly season update from Robin Miller, this guy right here, Juan Pablo Montoya, is going to be a big factor. Katie?
Jan, for Graham Rahal running in 5th right now. This season has been feast or famine. Lee caught up with him earlier. The thrill of the win at Texas, in the agony of the crash in Watkins Glen. He's had just 3 podiums this year versus his 6 podiums last year, and the 15 team is left fighting for wins rather than a championship.
If you look at our year, our performance, our speed, our pace all season long has been better than it was last year. It's just last year a lot of the little breaks went our way. This year they've all kind of gone against us, and that's the way racing is.
And Alexander Rossi in 6th as just a rookie. This is also his home track, and this is a great time for Andretti Autosport to really pick up the pace. He has more than 120 friends here watching this weekend. Then in Charlie Kimball back in 7th position. Can you believe it or not? This is Charlie Kimball's 100th start. He has a special helmet this weekend, and he says the thing he's learned the most as you see him pulling into the pits right now is he can't believe just how competitive this series is. And also over the radio during those first few laps, he'd been complaining about the traction in his left rears. Then you slide back to Ryan Hunter-Reay. You heard Paul Tracy announce earlier, he just signed a brand new deal with Andretti Autosport and DHL to stay with the Verizon IndyCar Series until 2020. Jan?
Behind Hunter-Reay, of course, it is Josef Newgarden, who, for me, it was one of the incredible turnarounds this season after that huge crash that he had at Texas Motor Speedway. He overcame those challenges and got right back into the car. Here's what he told us about that challenge of his injuries.
You know, I think for me, I had a different challenge than I've ever had with the type of injuries I had to deal with after Texas. It wasn't crazy. It's not like I broke my back or something. There's been worse injuries in an Indy car, but it was a challenge I've never faced. And I think for me, I wanted to prove that I could get on top of them, not miss any races. And I think with the type of injuries I had, it was very capable of doing it. You know, like I said, you didn't break your back or something more extreme. So It's very character building, you know, but I've had all the support from this team, everyone within the paddock, everyone that helped me out. It wasn't just me, so it was a lot about relationship building, working with people, and trying to overcome.
And sliding back to Takuma Sato, they've been really struggling this weekend. Takuma just hasn't been happy with the car. They said they've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at this car, especially last night. But today, suddenly, he's happy. Then sliding back to Carlos Munoz. We don't know what Carlos Munoz is going to do next year, but Carlos Munoz knows what he's going to do next week. He's going to race go-karts in Colombia with Juan Montoya. Kevin?
Well, Robin Miller has already reported that Sebastian Bourdais is going to be headed to Dale Coyne Racing. As far as this season, they have a win, so that's always a positive. It felt like there was much more available, 10 top 10s, but there were several that they left on the table and could have gotten done, and better results, Katie.
This has been a very frustrating season for Marco Andretti, who has just 2 top 10s. He says he's already in 2017 mode. They're using this weekend as a test, and so far they're kicking off 2017. Great, Kevin.
Scott Dixon is all the way back in 13th in this race, and today will end his reign as the series champion.
Lots of emotions, plenty of ups and downs, and I think a lot of missed opportunities too. But you know, it's always a pleasure and love racing in the Verizon IndyCar Series. And yes, we had some peaks this year, but you know, it feels strange, I will say, coming into the last race of the Verizon IndyCar Series and not being eligible for the championship, which is really tough. But we'll see how it goes, and you know, last race of the weekend, and hopefully we can bring some of that Verizon network speed to fruition and finish on a high.
And it's going to be tough to finish on a high. Not only did they have that radio problem, cost him a few seconds fixing that in his first pit stop, but also they've been dealing with brake issues throughout the weekend. They were thinking they finally had those sorted after the 4th or 5th change this morning.
Yeah, it's been a source of frustration for Scott Dixon's crew and himself. Meanwhile, if you're going to win a championship like Simon Pagenaud wants to, do it with authority, and that's exactly what he is. Pagenaud has grown his lead over Will Power to 8 seconds. This is a serious performance from Simon Pagenaud. Paul Tracy said yesterday during our qualifying coverage, I think he just won the championship today. The way that he won the pole position, the pressure that was on, and the way that he delivered, he is going on with it today on championship day. You're watching IndyCar, brought to you by Verizon. Go inside IndyCar all season long. Download IndyCar Mobile only from Verizon.
Back at Sonoma, where Helio Castroneves, running 3rd in this race, is the first one of the leaders to come in for stop number 2. No wing changes for Castroneves, so he's going a little bit off strategy. He might be thinking about this could be a 4-stopper, but he still is in position where he still can make this a 3-stopper. He's just going to have to save a little bit.
And Townsend, did he do that because he couldn't do anything about Will Power ahead? Like, he couldn't do anything about him on track. Let's do something about him off track.
Yeah, I think it's a chance to take a gamble. We know Castroneves is only focused on a win. 3rd in the championship, not so important for him. But I do believe he'll have to stop 2 more times to make it to the end.
Paul, this is a very familiar color scheme for you because you raced against Ganassi so many times when it looked like this. It's very much a retro deal. And for the Ganassi team, the Ganassi Empire, boy, are they busy. 18 drivers across 14 cars, 6 different series. People everywhere, all over the country, with Global Rallycross, of course, here in Sonoma. Sports cars with both the World Endurance Championship and the IMSA Series. And then, of course, NASCAR, Sprint Cup, and Xfinity. This is a logistical mountain to climb, and they have done it. Let's not forget the biggest occasion of the year, winning Le Mans. The 50th anniversary for Ford, Chip and his team's first visit. That was an incredible accomplishment. Now, just over the back part of the circuit where you see them go into the hairpin, turn 7, there is the Target Compound, which is an amazing facility where there are more than 400 people. There was a huge farewell party on Friday night. Target is saying thank you, but we've been around long enough and we feel we've achieved everything we wanted to. 27 years with Chip Ganassi is an incredible run to have that single sponsor. And I think on behalf of all of us, we say, Target, thank you for what you've done for IndyCar racing over those years.
They've done a great job as another Ganassi car comes into the pits. Max Chilton Watching that clock, pretty snappy pit stop there. Looked like about 7.5 seconds, so he is off and away. But yeah, Lee Target, what a great sponsor.
A little race going on here with Castro Neves, who pitted off sequence. He's fallen back. He's got fresher tires than James Hinchcliffe. He looks, makes a move down the inside on push to pass. Nice clean move, and that's the difference right there between fresh tires and old tires.
And that's the urgency of a four-stop strategy with Castro Neves. He cannot afford, he needs clean track, cannot afford to sit behind Hinchcliffe. So now he should have some clean air to try to make lap time and make that four-stop strategy work. As you can see in the distance, Munoz and Sato also hitting pit lane.
Go, clear out.
Those two guys have had a nice scrap over many laps, and they will be together again. Pagenaud, what's the race leader doing? 9.7 seconds in front. Incredible.
Total domination. What we saw at the last race with Scott Dixon totally dominating Watkins Glen, that's the case here for Simon Pagenaud. He's so fast all weekend long, nailed the pole on used tires, and to pull away from, think about this, Will Power and Juan Montoya, to pull out 10 seconds on the likes of those guys, very, very impressive.
And he's just in cruise control mode, listening here to the in-car. Let's watch him lift for turn one. Saving fuel, coasting it in. He's going to try to go as far as he can on this stint. Managing the rear tires. There's nothing dramatic, nothing quick or snappy about the hands, just very deliberate. And here you hear him lift early too. Just looks like such a well-balanced car, and Jan pointed out earlier on the stop when they went from reds to blacks, they really didn't make any changes to the car, so aerodynamically they're very much in a happy window. So it is all good right now for Simon Pagenaud.
Well, we're looking at the 22 of Simon Pagenaud, and he features in today's Chevy driver profile. And you see there, 8 wins, 4 of those came in this 2016 championship. Something dramatic's going to need to happen to not make that 5 in 2016.
Yeah, and working lap 33. By my math, I see Pagenaud coming in maybe around lap 38. Wondering down in pit lane, Jan Bikas, do you hear anything on radio communication in terms of fuel save mode with our leaders?
Well, I do. In the case for Simon Pagenaud, you talk about how perfect this day is going. The one thing that could trip him up, he actually is making good fuel numbers, and he can go to lap 39 or more. The only issue, Townsend, as you know, if he waits and stops at 39, which you want to, and someone stops just before that and a caution comes out, he could get hung up. That's what he's worried about.
And that is a big worry that really cost Scott Dixon in Toronto. And it went in his favor. At Watkins Glen, Scott Dixon was the first guy to pit, and then it went yellow. So this is the drama that you look at. Guys dropping wheels off the track. There's stuff flying all over the place.
Michaela Lotion and Tony Kanaan up the inside now of RC Enerson. Both coin cars there, because there is Connor Daly in the background.
Clear.
I think I may have been remiss to mention a little earlier on that IndyCar Race Control did actually review the contact between Tony Kanaan and Lotion, and everything was cool. No action taken. Kev?
This is a little bit earlier for stop number 2 than what they would like for Scott Dixon, but because of the issues early on and where they are, he has to go a little bit off strategy. So what they most need is they need a yellow to get them to cycle back up to the front. Otherwise, a bunch of fuel saving and some cautions, or they're also potentially in 4-stop strategy now.
So the Ganassi man, service sent and back out after, at it. As we go back up front to the race leader. It's not a robot in that car, it's actually a real person. You want to know more about him? Look at this, some childhood photos of Simon Pagenaud. Cars were always a part of his life. The young man from Poitiers in France. And America has been his home for a long time now. Derek Walker was one of the first to have a big influence on his career. His sister is here today watching him, and Haley, his girlfriend, his biggest cheer squad member.
The race. Sorry, Lee, with the car slowed on course, there was a last-minute decision to bring Simon Pagenaud in. It's exactly what Paul, there you see the 12 of Will Power slowing on course, and all these teams, and Paul Tracy was talking about it, they were running in the danger zone, taking a risk, so they're pitting now to be sure they don't cut in case this goes full course caution.
Will Power was side by side with Montoya.
Car.
Anti-stall, full clutch.
Spencer Pigot disabled at the exit of pit lane.
And that was exactly what I was talking about. It's a yellow. If a yellow was to come out, we think Will Power has a gearbox problem. He's stuck in first gear. Let's hear the radio.
Watch Montoya.
Miss the ship. Miss the ship. Try emergency mode. Emergency mode. Outside. Watch on side. Outside.
So somehow on the downshift to first gear there, he just got a box full of neutrals. Tim Cindric trying to coach him back to pit lane.
Using the old school lever technique, which is not
appropriate.
Not appropriate for today. It's all paddle shift and electronics, but he is barely creeping along back to the pit lane. He's almost to a stop, and this will cause a full course yellow. He's in the fastest section of the track.
Power cycle help or not?
And he's
Power cycle?
He's trying everything power cycle, which is why we lost our onboard camera. And where is Simon Pagenaud about to come around and lap Will Power?
All you
No,
want.
it just switched off. It just switched off.
When you're fighting for a championship, you just want a chance, and that has been taken away from Will Power.
And that'll have to cause a yellow at this point.
Full course
There
yellow,
it is.
and that was the danger zone that we've been talking about for Pagenaud. Did he pit, not pit? They saw that Power was slowing and dove to the pits. Smart call by Team Penske as we see James Hinchcliffe in now just on the yellow. Whether he made it or not, we're not sure, but he is in the pits.
Wow, can you believe what we're seeing here in Sonoma? 2 to fight it out for the championship, and there one sits.
Well, no gears. They won't be able to just start that car and drive away. They're going to have to tow him back to the pits, which will take some time. He's already lost a lap. Spencer Pigot is stopped at the pit lane exit. Some smoke coming out of the car.
And folks, if you ever wondered how steep turn 1 is here at Sonoma, look at where Spencer's car is and look at the flag marshals. The gradient is immense. That climb up to turn 2.
It's hot today, a lot of issues right now. We're halfway through this race, and it just seems like a lot of mechanical problems have crept into these cars. It's very hot today, over 90 degrees. And look, 3 cars all of a sudden out of the race with mechanical trouble.
See them still working on Connor Daly there. He lost a motor in practice, so it's been a really tough final race for the young American. He needed a better day than this.
And Simon Pagenaud, guys, spoke about this earlier today, didn't he? He said, let's just hope we can fight and race and nothing else influences the outcome of this championship. Well, it just has.
When we came back from break, and of course we saw the drama of those making pit stops. That includes Juan Pablo Montoya, and they had just radioed to him saying, you know, in this segment we're going to do a blue light run. What a blue light run is, meaning we're going to use every last bit of fuel in the tank, and when the blue light comes on, that means you're going to be running out. They of course aborted, as did Simon Pagenaud, and as Paul Tracy mentioned, a very clever move when you see a team car slowing, come in and be sure you don't get caught by the yellow. Montoya also did the same.
Well, by protecting himself, Pagenaud and Montoya both will now have to go full blue light mode to make it to the end on one more stop. They came in about 2 to 3 laps earlier than they would have wanted to on that stint, so it's going to be pretty interesting now to see who's able to stretch it on just one more pit stop to get to the finish.
See Will Power getting towed into the pits. This has pretty much ended his championship. He's now 2 laps down.
And what are the possibilities for Power to not finish second? Well, right now, as they run, Castro Neves is tied with Will Power. So The championship looks to be out of grasp now for Power, but the wins will be the tiebreaker. Now there's huge incentive for Castroneves and Will Power to get back on track and try to maintain the second position.
And that was one of Team Penske's goals, by the way, to do a 1-2-3 in the championship, given the fact that there was a handful or so of drivers vying for that third spot. Kev's on the spot. Tell us more.
Well, Tim Cindric is talking to Will Power right now and to the number 12 Verizon team, and they're just simply trying to get the car started, not worried about tires. They've gone through all the recycling, hitting the neutral button, and bottom line, they may still get them back out and try to score some points to be able to get back out and finish second in the championship as they change that steering wheel to try to help the electronics. But the chance at the championship is gone. Simon Pagenaud is going to be the 2016 champ.
Looks like the steering wheel was not the issue right now. They changed the wheel.
Can we start it up here? Let's try and start it.
Well, it's the only thing that you can really do at this point.
All right, Matt, you run the show.
Tim Cindric saying, all right, Matt, you run the show. That is Matt Jonsson. He is the chief and lead mechanic on that car and has been for many years, and he's been in the IndyCar series for decades. NBCSN is not only your home of motorsport, it's your home of open wheel racing. Formula One World Championship continues on October 1st with the Malaysian Grand Prix. If you don't know the results of today's Singapore race, hit the mute button for a little bit. We'll talk about it now because, guys, the championship is really on. Nico Rosberg winning. He's moved ahead of Lewis Hamilton now in the championship race.
Yeah, Lewis really struggled at Singapore on pace. He just said he was off rhythm all weekend. Did a nice job to make up for it. As Scott Dixon is changing a helmet here, so maybe that's the radio problem. They have lots of time under yellow.
He's going to change earplugs. They're thinking it might be an earplug problem, in which those things can go bad very easily. You can drop them. They have attenuators in your earphones, and they can get damaged very, very easily just by, you know, banging around in the trailer and traveling around and moving from the pits and back and forth. So I've had many times in my career earplugs go bad.
So they'll be watching where the pace car is. It's on the back straight right now, so it's still time for Dixon. But
you got to make sure you get that helmet done up all the way, because the pressure in these cars, when you don't have your helmet tightened on tight, it will rip right off your head.
Radio check. Okay. They're going to go green this time, so we'll just try to get caught up here.
Get that Hans device hooked up.
When we're ready. Get out of here.
That's the voice of Mike Hull.
So this is the challenge, going to go back to green here. So now Dixon's going to try to haul his way around, but it's going to be too late. There'll be a big gap as they come back to green.
Very frantic pit stop. You can see the urgency on Scott's
wheel free.
actions there, getting the helmet on as we're going to go green now.
Incidentally, update on Spencer Pigot. It was a gearbox failure for the young American that has taken him out of this championship finale. Time to go racing again. Penske 1 and 2 with Pagenaud and Castroneves. Kimball gets a nice jump on Rahal. Montoya's looking at Rahal as they climb the hill.
And for Simon Pagenaud, it's a great start. He has 7, 8 guys behind him. All they care about is a race win today. They need it, they want it. They'll be trying to chase him down.
Montoya all over the back of Rahal. He wants to get by. Rahal takes a look at Kimball. Kimball's a tough guy to pass, and he's the best Ganassi car so far today, having a good weekend.
Oh, look at this scrap, side by side, heading down there. Josef Newgarden and Carlos Munoz. You don't often see many passes executed there.
Outside move on the push to pass by Marco Andretti. Round the outside on the push to pass. He's going to go for another one.
Rahal on the inside of Kimball. Great move. Turn 7 at the hairpin.
Look at Marco Andretti up the inside. Hopefully gets room from Newgarden. He does. Tries to push Newgarden off. There's contact further back.
Is that a Lotion? No, it's one of the Foyt cars. One of the Foyt cars at the turn 7 hairpin now gets going in the right direction. Townsend, you mentioned great jump, great start, and returning the favour is Bourdais on Andretti. Well done, and his farewell drive for Kevin Kalkoven and Jimmy Vasser and Sully's team for KBSH. They couldn't offer him a multi-year contract, so he's moving, and it's yet to be officially confirmed, but everybody understands that Sebastian Bourdais is off to Dale Coyne Racing. Townsend, you said good start from Pagenaud. He's still got 8 pushes to pass in his bank.
He really does, and he knew that I don't have anybody running for points behind me. They're all going to be throwing caution to the wind. all the more incentive for Simon Pagenaud to get a good jump. And now he'll settle in to a pace that's going to require great fuel management because he stopped a little earlier than expected on lap 36. So he'll need good mileage to make it on just one more stop.
Tough, big-time racing going on all the way through the field. I noticed on Kanan's front wing, it is broken 100%. I could see it flopping around. As we see, Rossi took the short line around. Hunter Ray gets a run on him, goes for the outside line. I think he's going to try him around the outside, but they might get into the back of Montoya right here.
And Hunter Ray pushed the button, so he used an overtake. And so many times this season, we see drivers use that button and then have this possessed craziness about trying to get by. I call it overtake compulsive disorder, OCD.
Going for that extra speed. There is the 28 DHL machine from Andretti Autosport of Ryan Hunter-Reay. And for all of us here on the broadcast team, our thoughts go out to Ryan, his wife Becky. Before she was Ryan's wife, she was Becky Gordon, younger sister to Robbie Gordon, and the other sister, Robin. Well, that family, I'm sure a lot of you have heard the news, the tragedy about Bob Gordon and his wife. Just terrible. And we are thinking of all members of the Gordon family, and of course for Ryan Hunter-Reay and for Robbie's son, grandson of Bob Max. Just a terrible family tragedy.
As we see Will Power there get out of the pits, trying to stay out of everybody's way because he is 7 laps down at this point. And I just want to close the loop there on Ryan. I know, Ryan pretty well. I was teammates with him at Indianapolis this year, and this is the best therapy for Ryan Hunter-Reay, is to be on the racetrack doing what he loves best.
Absolutely, he's having a good day. He's got a new contract. His brother-in-law Robbie was racing over the weekend. He won on Friday night in his Stadium Super Truck. So these guys are racers, and the show goes on. They got to do what they do.
And we should also congratulate Ryan and Becky on the birth of their 3rd son, Rhodes.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful baby boy. 3 boys in the family now. So as Hunter-Reay said, I think earlier in the week, it's almost like a race team there in the Hunter-Reay household. So he'll have a busy offseason.
So the order runs. Simon Pagenaud 1.3 seconds out in front of Helio Castro-Neves. Graham Rahal maintains 3rd. Then Charlie Kimball, Montoya, Rossi, Hunter-Reay. Sato has been consistently in the top 10 today. He's working a slightly different strategy. Newgarden and Munoz make up the top 10.
What we have now is Pagenaud is not rocketed away from Castro-Neves. Castro-Neves did that early stop. He's back on sequence again, and he's been able to hold station 1.3 seconds. So we'll see now. Pagenaud's under no pressure. His teammate that he's battling is 8 laps behind. The championship is pretty much wrapped up. He could go for broke now, but look at Castro-Neves is staying with him this time.
And even if Castro-Neves gets close, Pagenaud should be able to just let him go, because Castro-Neves pitted on lap 29, which means he'll have to stop 2 more times for sure to make it to the end.
By the way, Charlie Kimball is the biggest mover in this race, making up 8 spots from his starting position. And what must Will Power be thinking? He's been in this position so many times before, being a title contender, coming down to the last race and it doesn't go his way. But some of that will be diluted, some of the pain will be diluted, because he has won a championship in 2014.
Right now, they are tied on points. The way they run, he's not going to make up any difference in where he is at. Castro-Neves might lose more positions having to do 2 stops. They are tied up, 127 to 127. If they stay tied, Will Power has 4 wins to Castro-Neves' 0 for the season.
Paul, you've been friends with Tony Kanaan for a long time. What's your gut tell you? Where's he going next year? Is he going to stay at Ganassi? He's heading to another team. Robin Miller has more on that. Well, I'm just asking you for your
I think
thoughts.
for sure he's the Iron Man of the series. I think for sure if I'm Tony, I want to stay where I'm at. I'm a good teammate. And Robin, what kind of news you got?
Okay, yesterday in our production meeting, I knew everything that was going on in this paddock. Today, I know nothing. I thought Josef Newgarden was a slam dunk at Penske to replace Juan Montoya. Not so fast. It may be Alexander Rossi. He may be taking Montoya's place at Penske, and good old Josef Newgarden may be staying with Ed Carpenter, which would be great for the series and great for that team. Tony Kanaan, yesterday I thought he was going to be with A.J. Foyt, and Juan Montoya was going to take his place at Ganassi next year. I don't know that's going to happen or not. I don't think Tony's signed with anybody yet, but he's going to decide this week whether he's going to stay with Chip or go to A.J. Foyt. Montoya has been talking to Ed Carpenter because he thought Josef Newgarden was leaving to take his seat, so we're not sure what's going to happen to Montoya. Then you got a third seat at Sam Schmidt. Who's going to be in that? We're not sure yet. So once again, Ed Carpenter said, you know nothing. Nobody knows anything. You're all guessing. He's right. We're all guessing.
Well, thanks, Robin, for clearing it up. I can I can tell you I did speak with Tony Kanaan this morning, and Tony told me that Josef Newgarden is the domino. So Josef is first in line. Tony feels like he's next. So depending on what Josef does, that will determine where Kanaan can land. Kanaan gave me a big smile. He says, I got to tell you, as a fellow 41-year-old Townsend, it feels good to be wanted again.
Yeah. Wanted second in line. I'd rather be first in line, right?
There is the leader of this race, the leader of this championship, and I think we can safely say now, champion-elect. "15 years ago, following the September 11 terrorist attacks, this man here, Alex Zanardi, lost his legs in a tragic accident in Euro Speedway Lausitz. Now in his second Paralympics, he is a 4-time gold medalist. This guy is Superman, a real-life Superman. He's an incredible human being, and now he's an incredible Paralympian."
I'm thrilled. I normally don't thank God for these type of things because I believe God has more important stuff to worry about. But when I finished and I was told that I won the race, I thought, this is too much. This is by far too much. It's time to raise my eyes and really say thank you because it's amazing.
It's amazing. You're amazing, Alex. Just incredible. And Marco Andretti tweeted out, what an amazing individual. Congrats on another Paralympic gold, my friend. So inspiring. Alex Zanardi inspires people not only in motorsport, all around the world. Guys, we're fortunate to have been around him and spent time with him. Paul, you race with him and we're very close with Alex. What a guy. What a human being.
He's the racer's racer. I had many wheel-to-wheel battles with him, and he's a guy that never gives up and has always got a positive outlook on everything.
And he ran a car with this livery that Scott Dixon will run for the final time as Target exits the sport.
And to think that, you know, with Zanardi, Paul, I can remember my very first IndyCar race. You and I were in a rental car in Germany, headed to the airport, and we thought we had lost Alex Zanardi. And to think how far he's come since that horrible day, it's really been amazing.
Leo Castro-Neves on pit lane. So this is for stop number 3, Kev.
And this confirms what we were guessing, that it's a 4-stop race for Helio Castroneves. So he's going to be able to go full out the rest of the way. And keep in mind, not only does he want to get his first win in 2.5 years, if he can get by his teammate Simon Pagenaud to win this race, he will move up to second in the championship and finish there for the 5th time. He wants a half turn of front wing this time. The car has been pretty good for Castroneves, not quite good as Pagenaud. We'll see if he has anything for him in this stint.
That pit stop right there was basically a 25-point swing to the negative for him. That will secure, for right now, Will Power second in the championship.
And I'm starting to wonder a little bit about this green flag running here with Simon Pagenaud. Jan Bikas, do you think Pagenaud can make it on one more stop? Because he's got 2 very long windows to pull that off.
He does, and I've been watching the lap times. I know you have as well. He's been running awfully fast. They just told him fuel code 72. So they're going out, they're going to the playbook here and telling him what they want. But I think now that he doesn't have the pressure from behind for Castroneves, what I thought was interesting, Townsend, Castroneves was on 4-stop strategy. He didn't need to save fuel, and he couldn't pass Simon. So how is Simon going that fast and on a 3-stop strategy? It'll be interesting to see if he's this fast and only has 1 more stop. He may not.
What do I do with Helio because he's kind of coming back soon? We're okay with Helio right now. You're doing a great job. That's 10 laps of green on these.
So they're talking about tire wear at this point, but with Pagenaud stopping on lap 36, that's going to be 39 laps to make it to the finish.
Yep.
Excuse me, 49 laps. So that's 25 and 24 to make it to the end. That's awfully long.
That's a stretch.
Look at his team manager, Kyle Moore. A ton of experience with this guy. Worked with him at Team Cool Green. He was Dario's race strategist. He was a long time ago at Gallus Racing with Al Jr., Danny Sullivan. Many championships under this guy's belt. And he's kind of one of those low-key guys. You don't know much about him, but he is a true professional.
And single-seater racing very much is a team sport. Not only Kyle Moyer, his strategist, but if you look around on the rest of the box, the guy closest to the right with the dark sunglasses, that is Ben Bretzman, who has been Simon's longtime engineer.
John Menard up there, too.
John Menard as well, and Menard's has just renewed its sponsorship agreement with Team Penske Racing. That guy there is a pretty cool dude. He's laid back. He keeps his emotions in check, and he and Simon Pagenaud have formed one of the most dynamic partnerships in IndyCar racing today. Proof in the pudding, they're about to become champions.
Yeah, I think it took that first year at Penske in 2015 for both of them to settle into the system, understand all the tools that they had at their disposal, and they've put them to great use this year. But how about this guy, Alexander Rossi? This, to me, is his strongest race of the season. He's clinched Rookie of the Year by virtue of Connor Daly's troubles that we saw earlier on pit lane. But Alexander Rossi's had a fast car all weekend. His pace has been excellent, and right now he's got Hunter Ray behind him. He could be looking at a podium.
This time last year, he made his Formula One race debut on the streets of Marina Bay at the Singapore Grand Prix. How much can change in a year? Racing at Sonoma Raceway in his home state of California.
Now, between Rossi and the podium is a guy named Juan Pablo Montoya. And
that's a little hurdle to jump.
Robin Miller's to be believed, then Alexander Rossi potentially in the frame of a Penske seat. How defensive would Montoya be, Paul, if Rossi can get to his bumper?
Wow, he's always defensive. We look at Castroneves comes out of the pits from his stop as he gets around Jack Hawksworth. Robin, what's going on?
Well, I think Rossi's parent, his father, indicated that, you know, they were working towards maybe a 3-year deal with Brian Herta and Michael Andretti's team. So I'm sure it'll be a shock to them if he's wearing a Penske uniform next year, because I think, but the two people that I talked to, both I trust. I mean, they didn't make it up, and I saw there's a nice pass. We saw a pass, boys, on the track. Very nice. What I saw last year, a couple weeks ago at Watkins Glen, was Rossi coming down out of Penske's motorhome. Well, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, he could have been in there borrowing money. I don't know, but it might be more than we think, fellas.
My guess is that Roger Penske's using Rossi as a negotiating tool for Newgarden.
It's all to play for in the silly season. Once the racing is done, it's going to be a fascinating one. For Simon Pagenaud, he's driving on his way to become a champion. What a year it's been for Josef Newgarden, the good and the bad. And he was a bit of an Iron Man to come back from that horrific crash at Texas Motor Speedway the first time round. And then his big win, which was phenomenal. It's a couple, that wasn't his first time win, but that win in the Iowa Corn 300 was fantastic, and it just underscores that this young man is no longer searching to become what might be the ideal IndyCar driver. He's now the complete package.
You know, you guys in Australia aren't very sympathetic. A bit of an Iron Man. I mean, what else do you need to see? I mean, broken clavicle, broken hand, never complained, soldiered through, not only to do well at Road America, of course, but at Iowa in such spectacular fashion. To me, that is hands down the performance maybe of the decade, Paul.
Well, he's got the ear of everybody in the paddock. Everybody knows that he's the guy that they want if they have an open seat. And like we said, he will be the first domino that will dictate everybody else in the field looking for a ride.
Well, let's talk more about Penske, and let's head there now with Kev.
Now let's find out exactly what did happen with Will Power. In lap 36, he coasted to a basic stop. What was the issue, Tim?
Yeah, it ended up being what we call a CCU, or clutch control unit. We were basically engaged in the clutch the whole time, so there was nothing really you could do to put it in gear. So we switched it on and off to try and get it to reset, but that didn't work. So, you know, congratulations to Simon, the whole Team Penske team. To do it on Roger's 50th anniversary is a big deal for all of us, and it's a shame Will and the Verizon Group didn't get a race for it today, but you know, watching how well our Cup guys ran in the chase, you know, we got another shot at another championship there before the end of the year.
That was the good thing out of this day. It is a guaranteed championship for Team Penske. Tim Cindric is the president of Team Penske, Jan.
Yes, and of course he mentioned the 22 car, and Kyle Moyer, you're making that call. The question we have, are you saving enough fuel to make one more stop?
Yeah, right now that's the plan. We're right on schedule. I mean, he's doing a great job out there in the car. I mean, he's driving good within the tires and making his fuel numbers, you know. Had a really good race going there with Will and everything, so I thought it was going to be a lot of fun, you know, sad thing with him and everything. But no, Simon's doing an excellent job right now.
Wow, so he has that kind of speed, guys, and hitting his fuel numbers.
It's just like last week at Watkins Glen with Scott Dixon. He was so fast, pulling away from everybody and making the fuel. As we watch him here, the car's balanced, it's perfect. Coasting all the way down into the corners, just saving fuel. The guy's on point.
Just a perfect day. Weather's good, speed's good, car's good, driver's good. It's all good.
Guy who's hanging tough back there, the guy I said at the start of the show, Ray Hall's now into second place, only 4.8 seconds back of Simon here. So that would be a big shot in the arm for him for the championships to solidify a top 5. It was a really slow start for him. He was looking to be a championship contender like last year.
And here he is on screen, Graham Rahal. Katie has more at the Rahal camp.
And Lee, I'm with Ricardo Nault, the guy that calls the shots for Graham Rahal. They're doing a little bit of chatting right now. But Graham Rahal's team was absolutely stunned when he qualified 5th. Now he's running 2nd. Ricardo, what's making the big difference?
You know, it's funny, we just didn't play the tire game the same way everybody else did, so we never got to show our hand until qualifying, but then Graham really stepped up and put in a flyer, and he's doing a great job. Steak and Shake Honda's just performing really well. Right now we're managing our fuel to try to make it one more stop to the end. There's a few 4-stop guys out there that could really screw us up if the yellow comes out at the wrong time, but you know, I want to try to save enough fuel so I can really take the fight to Pagano and push him, because he has no reason to fight us for the win.
Such a game of strategy, Lee.
And guys, you know better than me, but consistency within a team counts for a lot, and that's what they found at Team Rahal, at Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. Ricardo Nault, Eddie Jones, the engineer. Things have calmed down there, and they've got this consistency and this momentum, and I think that's gone a long way in calming Graham.
Well,
the results
let me just debate Ricardo there. There's every reason for Pagano to fight him for the win, because Pagano's never won here. The championship's already in the bag for him, so it will not be easy at all for Graham Rahal.
I'll tell you, Ricardo Nault has been around a long time. He looks like a young guy, but he was one of Bobby Rahal's mechanics all the way back at the start of my career back in 1992-93, so that guy's got a lot of experience.
A few moments ago, James Hinchcliffe for Schmidt-Peterson on the outside, and Elio Castro-Neves doing the move up at turn 7.
Whoa.
Look at Hinch. And we've seen that car tailing not just this weekend, many race weekends. Good catch from James.
Had a lot of oversteer. Castro-Neves uses his 7th push to pass. He has 3 left at this point. Hinchcliffe has been the most efficient on the button. He still has 9 remaining.
This guy's got to get his hustle on here, because for Roger to cap this season, we know he's got the championship. Right now, Castro-Neves is 4th in the championship, and Josef Newgarden is 10 points ahead of him. So he's on the move. He's got to make more positions. And what a year it would be for Roger if it was a 1-2-3 in the championship.
And conversely, for Newgarden, if Newgarden could pull it off with that missed points opportunity, remember he wasn't allowed to go in the second half, the restart, the redo, the do-over of Texas. So that would be huge.
Making a move here. He's going to take a look. Taking a look. He's right up under the tail in the braking zone here of Aloshin. He's got the inside move. I think he might make a move down into the next chicane. Other guys now are saving fuel. They're trying to make a number, and he's doing 4 stops, so he's going as fast as he can go at this point in the race.
Do you think, I'm just looking at Mikhail Aloshin, do you guys think that Aloshin is a better driver now in his return to the Verizon IndyCar Series? And what I'm pointing at is he went away, he diversified, he did some endurance sports car racing, and I think that's made him the more complete package as well.
Well, his first year he was a rookie, and he was super quick. And then he had that massive accident at Fontana, injured his back, put him out the whole offseason. Sponsorship restrictions kept him out of the series for a year. He raced in Europe. Townsend, you did some racing with him at Le Mans, so he was really kind of forced out. He wanted to be here, but there was no opportunity to be
I mean,
here.
the sports car racing really forces kind of the big picture learning for any driver, protecting the equipment. You've got teammates you're handing the car off to over long races. But for Mikhail Aleshin, I really feel like things came full picture for him at Pocono this year, where he was so fast, he was hanging on but did not crash the car. You know, finished second in that race as Castroneves ducks to the inside and not close enough to make it work. And here's a little OCD. He's on the push to pass button.
Yeah, he went in deep, and Aleshin took him in way deep, and they both ran wide on the exit. But Castroneves, like we said, here's Pagenaud in the pits. Jan?
And this should be, as you heard Kyle Moyer say, his last stop of the day. They need this to go. You're going to see other people in like Rossi, Ryan Hunter-Reay, but for right now, he gets up on the jacks. They just like nice and clean. They want to get every last bit of Sunoco fuel in this. See, they wait and they wait. And let's get down to Katie.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay has been trying to take the fight to his rookie teammate, but just can't make the move. Both of them stop this time. We'll see who makes it out first.
Well, Rahal has gone a lap further than Pagenaud, so that puts him in the good for sure to make it. So that's solid for Rahal.
Rossi's ahead of Ryan Hunter-Reay as they exit pit lane for the final time in this race with 24 laps to go in the 2016 racing season.
That's a long stint, 24 laps. So most guys were pitting 15, 16 laps. The tires were wore out. 24 laps is a long way on these tires.
Now here's Carlos Munoz on warm tires trying to make it count. He's got one chance here with Ryan Hunter-Reay before Hunter-Reay gets his tires up to pressure, up to temperature, and you can see them tail wagging all over the place. One thing I'll notice, guys, the sun is getting lower and lower here. This is the latest we've ever seen this race. And now with 20 laps to go, it becomes a big issue for visibility in turn one. Here's Kanaan making a move on Enerson. Katie?
And Townsend, you heard Ricardo now just moments ago. They're ready to take the fight to championship winner Simon Pagenaud as Graham Rahal puts the final time in 2016.
You're not going to do it on 9.4 seconds because Pagenaud was about 7.5. I'd never seen a tire stop as quick. They waited on the fuel at Penske for quite a while. That's how fast the tires were. Let's see where the 22 is. It's not going to be close. The 22 comes across start finish, and he's just behind Castroneves.
This is the map 3, and I need a code 7-2. Do not worry about Elio. I need a code of 7-2 again.
Mikhail Aleshin taking the same strategy, of course. This is a Honda like Graham Rahal is able to get one more lap than some of the others. Again, they'll wait. Even though the tires are done, they have to wait. That was a long wait for the fuel, but they know they have a long stint here, and they need everything they can get.
Aleshin's got to go the final 23. Hinchcliffe is released as well.
And with the way they run right now, Castroneves leading, he does have to pit. That moves him ahead of Josef Newgarden. So the seesaw, the back and forth right now in the championship is between Newgarden and Castroneves.
What do you figure code 72 means, Paul? Sounds like a line out of TJ Hooker.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I'll see Enerson on his way as we ride with the champion-elect Simon Pagenaud. Let's pause for a moment. Let's enjoy the ride. And when you get around to turns 1 and 2 and climb the hill, look at the impact that the setting sun has, as Townsend mentioned. Here we go for a ride.
Hey, don't worry about Helio. He has to stop. We got a gap of 3.5 over Rahal.
And that'll be more and more difficult for Pagenaud. You'll see it here in turn 3.
7-2.
It basically just puts a glaze over the entire racing surface. Very difficult to pick up the apexes.
.140 miles an hour as he drops into this corner here. 110 miles an hour through the apex as he goes down this short straightaway here up to 150 plus miles an hour, and the slowest corner on the track here at 40 miles an hour. Coasting all the way in. That's the fuel savings mode. He's just trying to make a number that he's trying to get to the end of this race with no more stops. He's been in so much control and making that number. So his only threat is Rahal. Rahal wants to get there so he can race with him.
On board with Tony Kanaan, that's Alexander Rossi behind with Ryan Hunter-Reay giving very close chase further back.
Nice battle here, 3 cars all together on the racetrack.
Time to check in on our Chevy driver update and the top Chevys in today's race. Pretty easy to see there, and one guy not on that list of the top performers is the ailing Will Power. Here he is.
8 laps down. This is not what Will Power had in mind today. The electronics issue, the shifting issue keeps him from having an opportunity to fight for the championship. I'm not sure, guys, if anybody had anything for Simon Pagenaud today. It wasn't just needing to beat Pagenaud. He had to beat him pretty significantly, and Simon Pagenaud has been the class of the field today and this season, Jan.
Yes, he has, and we mentioned at the open of the show that he had friends and family here, and his mom is here, Sylvie. And Sylvie, it looks like he's going to be the champion. We call him champion-elect. It looks like your son will be the IndyCar champion. When did he start dreaming about this goal?
It's like a dream, really. It's fantastic for him, and I'm very proud of what he does. He works so hard, and it's amazing. I'm proud of it. I can't say any else. I wait.
I know you're a proud mom. At what age do you think you thought he would be a race car driver?
Sorry.
At what age do you first think he was going to be a race car driver?
Oh, very. He was a little child. He began very early with his father on the knees of his father, and he was 4 years old, and he began with a quad, and after karting, car was his passion. So.
Thank you very much. A very proud Pagenaud family down on pit lane.
The French connection are here, yeah, and Dad Christian is also here, Simon's sister and some friends who have made the trip over from Europe to see the 2016 IndyCar champion. Season finale for the Verizon IndyCar Series. The Grand Prix of Sonoma continues with 18 laps to go in the racing season for IndyCar. And you're looking at Graham Rahal chasing down the second place Simon Pagenaud.
Well, he's chased him down from 5 seconds, Townsend, down to nothing now. So Graham Rahal, we know he is a race day racer. If he smells blood in the water, he is going to go for it, and he is right on the back of Pagenaud now, who's saving fuel.
And he went 1 lap further on the last stint, so he has 1 lap more fuel to use and burn. We know Pagenaud has to hit a number to make it to the end. Graham can turn up the dials here. Push to pass-wise, you have Simon Pagenaud 8 remaining, Graham Rahal 7 remaining. Let's go down to pit lane, Katie.
Townsend, this battle between Simon Pagenaud and Graham Rahal kind of takes me back to Barber earlier this year when those two were going at it for the lead, and ultimately Simon Pagenaud came out on top, but Ricardo Nault just came over the radio to Graham and said, "Give him all you've got." And Graham said, "I'm going for it." Ricardo responded, "My man."
And when Graham Rahal goes for it, it is pretty spectacular. If you needed any reminding, just look at the finish at Texas Motor Speedway. It was spectacular.
I think we're going to have a good race here, because if I'm Simon Pagenaud, I want to cap this season off with a win and an exclamation point, as we see Castroneves peel off for the pits. So that leaves them 1-2 on track, Kevin.
And Helio Castroneves went off strategy early, came in for his second stop on lap 29. They were hoping for that yellow, gambling instead of just getting a top 4 or 5. Let's go for the win. Didn't work out in their favor. Now, this 4th stop is going to make it difficult to get in the top 10. Castroneves, though, still, if he can make up some positions, can still finish 3rd in the championship and get a 1-2-3 sweep for Team Penske.
And he's there right now, Kev, as points as they run. Oh, that was close with Marco Andretti.
And that is for 7th position. Now, Bourdais is coming on hot tires. We've seen this before. Castroneves trying to work his Firestones, get pressures, and see if he can catch Marco or defend against Bourdais.
I was watching that position. As that position changed hands, he went from 3rd to 4th in the championship, 2 points behind
Josef Newgarden.
Josef Newgarden. So that position right there is the difference between 1, 2, 3 in the championship. And look at this. You couldn't put a piece of paper between these guys.
Oh. Whoa. Marco Andretti, of course, trying to generate a strong result to end the year. Absolutely not wanting to give any quarter there to Castroneves. Nice job, Marco.
Castroneves will be on fresh tires, full fuel, full go as fast as you want. Marco Andretti will be trying to do a fuel number to get to the end, so I don't think Castroneves will have too much trouble getting back by him, but he can't afford to get in an accident with him and cost himself a shot at the top 3.
Castroneves will have fresh tires and a lighter fuel load most likely, so the performance advantage should go to him. But here at Sonoma, even with a faster car, it's awfully tough to draw close.
Here is the revised order. It's Pagenaud with a 1-second lead over Graham Rahal. Montoya, Rossi, 5th is Ryan Hunter-Reay, Newgarden, Andretti, Castroneves, as we see here, and Bourdais and Aloshin in the top 10 with 15 laps to go.
I'm watching these two. There's 8 push-to-passes for Pagenaud left, 7 for Graham Rahal. And Marco Andretti is down to 1, and Castroneves has 2. So these guys are going to be going for it in these last 15 laps.
And what Paul's talking about, you might remember from Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. Look at this scrap. This was something else between Graham Rahal and Pagenaud, neither driver wanting to yield.
No, and I think Graham Rahal needs to be careful today. Don't force the issue. You have a fast car. There at Barber, he really tried to stick it in where the sun wasn't really shining, and Pagenaud came back to get him. Graham Rahal had damage to finish the race, had to hang on, and did a good job to hang on. But here, Paul, I think the advantage is on Graham with that extra fuel mileage on the previous stint, so he's got to get close, and then he's got to be smart about how he gets by.
He had that extra lap of fuel, but it looks like Simon has started to pull away from him now. So, you know, it's another situation where Graham got close, and he's in the turbulent air of Pagenaud's car, and he could be wearing the tires out a little bit.
Really good shot on board. Looking back at Graham Rahal's helmet, you can see just how difficult it is coming up over the hill into the sun. Graham squinting quite a bit. That'll only get worse over the next 13 laps.
How's the progress of Helio Castroneves in 8th, chasing down Marco Andretti for 7th.
He can stay close here as he winds up over the hill and down through the carousel, the fastest corner on the track. He might have a shot at out-braking him. He's on push to pass now, so he's going to make a run right here and try to get back that 3rd in the championship. Good run out of the corner.
Here we go.
The OCD.
There we go. Nice. That was straightforward.
Beautiful. Marco locks up. He's going to get him back over under.
Back under you.
Good work, Helio Castroneves. Clear, clear, clear is the call, and he is. Now he can set his sights on Josef Newgarden, who, incidentally, he's arm wrestling for that 3rd spot in the championship.
Now 3 points the other way. Castroneves ahead of Josef Newgarden by 3 points.
That was the voice of Rick Mears coming over the radio. How nice, guys, to have an IndyCar legend, Indy 500 multi-time winner on the radio, giving you the air traffic control. Not every driver in this field has a spotter here at Sonoma. I only counted 4 or 5 the other day on the roof.
Josef Newgarden for Ed Carpenter Racing in the Fuzzies Chevrolet. The 25-year-old American will now see his mirrors with Helio Castroneves rapidly catching him. Can he keep him at bay? Helio's on a mission.
He's on fresher tires than everybody else in the field, so he's got the advantage over the cars in front of him. A lot of these guys, by the end of this race, the last 5 laps, they are going to be slipping and sliding all over the place. And Helio has at least 10 laps better tires than everybody.
Now Castroneves has 1 push to pass remaining. Newgarden
he's
3,
catching.
So
he's catching Newgarden. That's the next guy right here in front of him. So
Paul, if Newgarden can defend on that 1 push to pass use that Castroneves has left, then it might be pretty difficult for Castroneves to get by. So this is the battle for 3rd in points, and it should get fierce as we come to 12 to go at the line.
For those of you turning on late, if you're wondering, hang on a minute, we haven't seen Will Power. What happened to Will some power in this race, in this championship fight. They had a clutch issue earlier on the 12. It stranded him. He went many laps down, and he sits in a very frustrating 20th position, 8 laps behind his teammate and one-time championship rival. And here is Will. So it's kind of a it's a lonely old ride home to the end of this 2016 championship. Boy, he staged a comeback, though.
It's a frustrating end to the season for him. It started off frustrating, and then to have a mechanical problem and be this far down, it's just like you just want the race to be over and take a break, collect your thoughts, get back to training, and come back stronger next year. But the job that he did this year, missing a race, it's humongous, the effort he put in to even put himself in the championship frame.
And let's not forget what's happening, perhaps more importantly, at home. Wife Liz is carrying their first child, and both are extremely excited about that.
And they'll expect that sometime around Christmas, Will told me this morning, and he got big eyes when he thought about what it's going to be like as a father, because it's been all about racing up till now. But congratulations to those two.
The battle for third in the championship. Castro Neves on fresher tires. He's able to go as fast as he wants on fuel, and he's closed the gap big time to Josef.
Now Newgarden has to try and bait Castro Neves into using that last push to pass at a low probability time.
He's going to be saving a lot of fuel here.
I think that's Cindric telling Castro Neves that Newgarden, who last pitted on 61, does not have the ability to run rich. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be quite a fair fight here in any moment. Elio's got the superior pace. Just wait for that best spot. Typically, it's up the drag strip heading up to turn 7.
And here's the debate for Newgarden. I have 3 push to passes to Castro Neves 1, but if I push that button, Paul, what do? I burn more fuel.
Well, he hasn't pushed it yet. I don't see the green lights on, but Castro Neves is right there. I would maybe look for an out-braking maneuver because he's trying to save fuel. Look at the gap here. Close up. Castro Neves, he closes the door on him.
Made it tough for Elio. Now Castro Neves comes back. It's a drag race off the hairpin, and Newgarden wins it for now.
No push to passes used by either of them. You see the red light on the roll hoop. When that goes green, they're on push to pass. So Castro Neves is much quicker than Josef right now, and he's just going to work him over and try to do it without using the push to pass.
By the way, up front, Simon Pagenaud has brought a little more comfort over Graham Rahal. He's 1 second ahead of Graham. It did go out to 1.8. It's come back and steadied at an even second. But Pagenaud in control, and T-Bell, that's how you want to win a championship, right? By winning the final race.
Oh, not only that, but by being able to control your pace at the end. If Rahal gets close, Pagenaud can just put his head down a bit, knock off a couple of click laps, as long as he stays within the fuel mileage window that he's been given. Newgarden still hanging on, doing everything he can, optimize corner speed and still get the mileage to make it to the end. Let's see what happens as they come to the carousel again. Can Castro Neves get close enough?
Be interesting to see how these two race each other. There could be potential teammates next year, so you would hate to start things off on bad blood. As we look at Castro Neves, I don't think he's on the push to pass, so he's going to go for it here.
Newgarden needs the block.
Big draft. He goes. Yeah, he's too far back for that. He's wasted his last push to pass. So.
That could be the move that gives Newgarden the position. Unfortunately, as they run, that would still mean Castro Neves would finish third in the championship. But that's what I was talking about. Low probability for Castro Neves. Newgarden can hang on.
Pagenaud remains the leader. Here he is. And that Steak and Shake Honda for Graham Rahal is getting closer. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Hyatt Gold Passport, the official hotel sponsor of Graham Rahal and the number 15. How beautiful it is up here in wine country, Sonoma, California, for the 16th and final race of the year in the Verizon IndyCar Series. And the race is on again between Josef Newgarden and Helio Castro Neves. Oh, thought about it again. Not quite close enough. Newgarden with some very good defensive driving. He's making life hard for Castro Neves.
He's not having it, Townsend.
Very smart drive from Newgarden. He knows now Castro Neves is out of push to pass. Newgarden has 3 left.
The advantage to Newgarden is to force Castroneves into a mistake, break his wing, have to come in the pits, lose position. So 7 to go. He's trying to force him into a mistake to where it might cost him some positions.
Well, the struggle for Newgarden again is that he just cannot break the fuel mileage number he's been given to make it to the end. So it's the worst possible situation for a driver. He knows that he can go faster if he was allowed to use the fuel, but if he does, he'll be forced to make a splash at the end. He can't afford to do that.
Big picture-wise, when you think about what's going on in this race and the effect it has on the championship, guys, and Paul, you were a Team Penske driver. This is a script that can only be written for somebody like Roger Penske and Team Penske. Winning the championship, guaranteed to win the championship in the 50th anniversary year of the team's existence, and you get a 1, 2, 3. Wow. You get both your drivers in the NASCAR Sprint Cup chase. What a year for it to be your 50th.
Yeah, to cap this 50th year with a 1, 2, 3 in the championship is really what Roger wants. They've sealed up this championship 1-2, but Castroneves right now has got it sealed in 3rd. He doesn't really have to pass Josef, but he obviously wants to put some distance to get the best finish he can, but he really doesn't have to if he doesn't want to, because he's ahead of him right now by 2 points.
There is the captain, Roger Penske. Not only a motor racing legend, but business legend as well. What a career, what a life he has had. And remember, the expansion that Team Penske is going to go through next year. Xfinity, full-time Xfinity Series program. They're adding to that. They're growing that. Then, of course, the Supercars project that is ongoing with Dick Johnson Racing in Australia. So we noted how busy Chip Ganassi Racing is. Penske aren't too many steps behind.
Yeah, I was at Toronto Airport Sunday night after the race this year. Tim Cindric was standing next to me in line to board the plane. I said, oh, it must feel nice to go home. He said, no, I'm going to Australia right now to go check in on the V8. So Tim Cindric, the man at the helm day to day that has to bounce all over the world to manage these Penske programs, and for the results that they've achieved.
He's going to have a good run right here. He really had a good exit there. So no push to pass from either guy, and we know he's going to have to back off early here to save fuel. And look at that gap close up, but he's not close enough.
Final 5 laps of the 2016 season. Nice to end with a good scrap, isn't it, for position?
I think Josef's got to watch. If he's driving to a fuel number, if Castroneves keeps pushing him past his fuel number, he could run out of fuel on the last lap. We're unsure of how many guys really can make it other than Pagenaud and Rahal. We're unsure of who can make it. We know Castroneves can make it.
And having a lonely old drive ahead of these guys by a couple of positions is one Pablo Montoya. He is some 12 seconds behind Graham Rahal, and he's about 10 seconds ahead of Alexander Rossi and Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's kind of having his own run in
all
third.
This battle with Castroneves and Newgarden allowed Marco to close the gap, as we see Montoya, as you said, lonely drive, looking further back. There is Hawksworth, who's a lap down, but then that's Alexander Rossi and Ryan Hunter-Reay. They'll be charging hard to the finish, and I think that's one of the better finishes, if not the best finish for Rossi since his win at Indianapolis.
This is what we got to watch here. If Josef forces Castroneves to make a mistake, the 2 points that he needs is right there behind him.
Yeah.
And then we have the Ganassi car just has closed this gap as well. So Castroneves cannot afford to make a mistake here and lose a position.
It's a nice way for Charlie Kimball to finish off the 2016 season, racing in his home state of California, and he is the highest placed Ganassi car in 9th, doing a nice job.
It's really hard to imagine. I mean, with the troubles that Scott Dixon's had today, it's still kind of a shock that the pace hasn't been nearly. You think about what we saw at Watkins Glen last race. He was untouchable, Scott Dixon was. Here we are on board. Scott Dixon's running in 17th. He did have the radio issues, the extra pit stop, but nowhere near the top of the charts on fastest lap. Meanwhile, Kanaan, Max Chilton, and Kimball are 1, 2, and 3 for fastest laps of the race.
And you know what? It shouldn't have been a surprise, Paul, given the way the weekend started for Dixon. I mean, he was down the bottom of the order.
Yeah, he was. They waited a long time to go out to run. They thought they had a good setup. They rolled out for practice. It wasn't good. As we watch Simon here, he's starting to edge away again from Graham Rahal. So well and truly has this thing under control. I think he backed off for a little while.
3 laps to go.
Was making those better fuel numbers than he needed to.
Guys, watch Graham's visor here as he turns uphill. You can just see his eyes. He's going to struggle to find the line. Look at him squint. He really is having a hard time seeing the apex in turn 2. Same problem here in 3. Luckily, at the end of the race, you have so much muscle memory from all the 80 some odd laps you've already done. That really helps guide you. You effectively can't see there, but you've done it so many times that you can almost do it with your eyes closed.
This fight continues. Newgarden up against Castro Neves with Marco Andretti and Charlie Kimball stalking in the background. They're for the minor placings, but there are championship implications. But Elio in the 3 there, the Hitachi Chevrolet, just needs to stay where he is. Monitor his position, and he will secure that 3rd spot in this 2016 championship.
And it's almost, Paul, like they were listening to you identify, you know, the cost benefit or the risk reward analysis there, because when Castro Neves went bombing up into turn 7 with the front tires locked up, I wonder if Penske realized at that moment, hey, said, you know, we should really think about what we have in hand here. Don't worry about the position.
I'm watching our multiple TVs here. We've had Roger on our ISO monitor for quite a while, and he's pacing back and forth up on the wall. So the nerves have not calmed down yet. He wants his man here to finish 3rd in the championship. He knows he's got the championship locked up already, but he's thinking for Helio, hey, how do I get my guy to just get to the end here?
At what point in your life did you find the voice for reason and
push to pass right there for Simon? He's on it now, so he's saved enough fuel now to where he doesn't have to worry about fuel. I just saw he was on push to pass.
Yeah, so he's going for lap time.
And this is another important piece in the Simon Pagenaud puzzle. He was a champion in junior open wheel category. He was a champion in the American Le Mans Series in the Prototype 1, the LMP1 class. Came to open wheel racing again, but this is a guy who is so multifaceted and so diverse. There was one racing season a handful of years ago. He raced 12 different types of car in a single year, including rally cars, V8 supercars in Australia, Indy cars here in the States. I mean, this guy is a very diverse and complete racer, and he is one lap away from being crowned an IndyCar Series champ.
And this is the gravy lap. This is where you take it all in. Big smile, a focus point to point. But man, what a job. He's earned every bit of this championship win. Just a few more corners.
It's not over yet because Graham Rahal is not out of his sight. He can't afford to make a mistake here, but we'll probably see him dive over the hill here. One more push to pass. He's still got 7 push to passes, more than anybody in the field. Look, the green light's on. Push to pass. He knows he's got enough fuel. The guy has been the master of the fuel and tires today, and he's just going to bring it home.
Pagenaud may not have the reputation like a Will Power as being super aggressive, but he is. He thrives. He relishes on pressure situations, and when the biggest pressure situation of his racing career has come calling, right here, right now, he has responded.
And there's been significant milestones this season. His first win for Penske at Long Beach, his qualifying performance at Iowa, the pole position yesterday over Will Power, all of that has built confidence.
And this is it. Not only did he stamp his authority on it to get that pole position, but now, at the final race of the year, he gets his first win in Sonoma, and Simon Pagenaud is the 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series champion.
Winner and champion, great job.
And mum and sister and family are delighted, as you would imagine. We'll get back to Simon in just a moment. Let's see who wins this individual fight here between Newgarden and Castro Neves.
This is your battle for 3rd. Will he go for it? He takes a look. He doesn't have to pass him, but he took a look, tried to force a mistake by Josef, and Castro Neves will come home with a Penske 1, 2, 3 in the championship.
Good job, buddy.
And Alexander Rossi runs out of fuel, and I think Hyundai got the position there for 4th.
He did indeed. But there is the champ, Simon Pagenaud, the 32-year-old Frenchman, It's his 9th career win. It's his 5th win of the season and his first at this track. The captain must be delighted.
Yes, an amazing result on your 50th anniversary. You knew you were going to win the championship, but you called Castroneves now to a 1-2-3. How gratifying.
Well, that was a great run. I just take my hat off to the whole team and what they've done all season long, and to cap it off here with another win, 10 wins for these guys. And certainly Pagenaud dug deep all year and came up with a win for the team. And I think you can see how good we are, and I can't take my hat off to these guys enough, and thank our sponsors. And Chevy, what great power we had. I think we made a lot of mileage there at the end.
Last year, the championship slipped away here. What changed this year?
Well, I think we focused, and you know, we had the benefit of such a strong finish here at the end to have that race under our belt. Didn't have to go for it, so you never know.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Little rallycross experience paying off there. It's a nice drift, PT. I like that.
I like it too. He's going to use up that Chevy motor now and give the fans a treat, do some donuts. Don't stall it.
That would be a stall.
And he doesn't care. Wow, what a season he stitched together. We documented it many times last year about he was kind of given a free pass last year to take his time to settle in to Team Penske. Both himself and his engineer, Ben Bretzman. Well, they did use that year, and they used it very productively to launch themselves into this 2016 season.
2 weeks in a row, James runs out of fuel. Look at this guy. He's up on top of the car. All the fans are down there at that end.
Well done, Simon Pagenaud. And the whole Matro safety team guys are the first to get to congratulate him in person. Not quite the typical finish, but it doesn't matter. The Pagenaud family, that trip from France was worth it. It has been a gorgeous, if not slightly warm, afternoon and day here in wine country, Sonoma, California. 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series Championship is done. And the winner is Simon Pagenaud. 2nd year with Team Penske. Not quite the power that he thought would get him back to victory lane. Being towed home by the Holmatro safety crew. But it's all just part of what is a fascinating story this year. One guy who was a big part of that story was his rival all the way to the end, Will Power. Jan?
Yes, and of course, what could have been for Will. This is your racetrack with your pole positions and your speed, but when you get a mechanical there, I know coming in you thought you had a real shot at this championship.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was pretty realistic considering the point situation, double points, but you know, it's just how it flows. You know, when it's your year, it's your year, and Simon's done a phenomenal job, and he's a very deserving champion. And you know, to lead a 1-2-3 in the championship for the team is you know, a great result. It really is. Unfortunate for us that we didn't really have a shot today, but I have to thank Verizon. You know, all the access they give the fans, and you know, it's so proud to have them on my car. And they have this new LTE advanced network that's super fast, so fantastic partner for our team.
Now, being second in the championship for a while there, that was a big problem, but this must be gratifying because you have brought home a championship now. For a while there, you kept getting stuck on second.
Yeah, that's right. If I hadn't won a championship, I guess it would be pretty another bad day, but honestly, second, missing the first race and all that, and how I felt at the beginning of the year, getting 4 wins, still very happy with the year, you know.
Now, physically, you were quiet about it in the beginning of the season, but you weren't really well. It took you a while to really get your health back. How is it now, especially after the accident in Watkins Glen?
Yeah, I mean, the problem was that I didn't work out in the off season because you know, because of the sickness that I had, and then I wasn't fit when I started to feel better, so I kind of struggled in that way. But I was fine at the end of the year, honestly. You know, those last few races I felt great, and you know, it's still a great year, and Simon did a phenomenal job, and you know, I think he's really come into his own. I've raced him for 10 years, and you know, I am happy to see him win a championship, even though I finished second to him.
Congratulations also on becoming a father.
Thank you.
Katie?
Graham Rahal finishes second to our new IndyCar champion, Simon Pagenaud. But Graham, how important is it to end this season on a high note with the roller coaster that you've been through?
Yeah, it's been a weird year. You know, overall, I think we've had our ups and downs, but you know, I'm really proud of this Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan team for all the effort they put in, and obviously proud to be the top Honda once again. I think they did a great job. We've led the charge for them the last couple of years, and it's there's a lot of pride in that, and it's nice to go into the off season with that. But for Steak and Shake and Hyatt and United Rentals, you know, everybody that we had here supporting us this weekend, Pengrade Motor Oil, it means a lot because these guys have been supportive through the thick and thin this year. It hasn't always been easy. You know, but they all came out today to support us. It was awfully cool to have Sergeant Rose with us, who was paralyzed, and you saw him stand for the national anthem. That was pretty awesome. But, you know, just a good day, good way to end it. I wanted to get Page there, obviously, but when I'd get behind him, I'd get massively loose. And I thought at one point it was just best I salvage a second place than do something stupid.
Your little one-car team that could took the fight to the four-car team of Penske. Graham, well done.
Time now as we are going to head to the Verizon IndyCar Series victory lane, of course, with today's winner, Simon Pagenaud of Team Penske. And this is something that he has been dreaming about. He's worked very hard on his mental strength and mental approach, keeping calm, keeping the emotions in check as part of the overall package, along with his driving, of course, his training. But this is something that he has taught himself to visualize. Well, now, doesn't have to visualize it anymore. He's there. He's seeing it for real. He's not only a first-time winner at Sonoma Raceway, and there is Haley, his girlfriend. Big part of his success story. And it's all real now. The winner at Sonoma and the champion on the season, and he's done it for Roger Penske in his 50th year. Simon is a very pleasurable guy to be around. He's very intelligent. He knows a lot about motorsport history. He appreciates that, and he will be very grateful for his place in Verizon IndyCar Series history.
So you know the drill.
It's been a hot day here. As he takes a moment to rehydrate. And everyone's growing a little anxious. They want the champ out of the car.
His car's been so good, he probably doesn't want to get out.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. This is a special moment.
Right now, as you can see.
Roger Penske showed the faith. Simon Pagenaud delivered. Here's the champ.
Great moment for him. Simon slaps the side of the car.
Simon Pagenaud becomes the 9th different champion for Roger Penske and Team Penske. 14 different IndyCar championships. 5th win of the season for Pagenaud, and he did it in dominating style from pole, celebrating with his sisters, his mom. We saw Haley already. What a day for the number 22 HP car. Michaela Lotion, one of those in, to greet him here in victory lane at Sonoma. Tim Cindric, you can see from behind, finished it up in style. You've been racing in America for more than a decade now. This has become your home. Can you describe your emotions right now?
It's unbelievable. I think I realize more tomorrow. But what a race. There's so much emotion right now, to be honest. I don't know if you can see it, but it's hard to find the words. It's my whole career. It's been about this, about today, and getting to this point, getting to this level, and running up front like that when you need it is, for an athlete, I think it's when you can perform 100% under pressure like this, is amazing. It's such a great feeling. You know, obviously it's me winning, but my whole team, the old champs, the 22 team and Team Penske, with all the guys, the 424 people working at the shop and their wives and the kids, being patient. Thanks to them for doing such a hard work for us and being able to shine on a racetrack like this. Thanks to Chevrolet. What an amazing race car, engine. Drivability was phenomenal all day, and the aero kit just for me has been perfect all year. And obviously, can't thank enough Verizon, you know, for bringing the fans to the racetrack with their super fast Verizon LTE advanced network, and Pennzoil. And Pennzoil are a big part of this team. You know, they provide us the best oil to perform at this level once again. We need 500ths of a second they can give us with better oil. So thanks Pennzoil and all the partners that we have. HP, obviously, it's our first win with this car. Finally, you know, I won with the Menards car, I won with the PPG car, and the HP boys are all here, and I'm so proud that we could do this. I've been with them since 2012, so man, Kevin, I don't know what to say anymore. Thank you.
Catch your breath. Well, here's the thing. We're going to have plenty more time to talk with you up on the championship stage when we give you the hard way in just a little bit. Celebrate with your friends, family, and your team. Simon Pagenaud is the 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series champion.
There you go. I love what Simon said. This is what it's been all about. This is what I've been building towards. Well, he's now realized a dream. Simon Pagenaud is an IndyCar Series champion. Everybody wants to congratulate Simon Pagenaud for winning this year's championship. Let's get down to Katie with more.
And Team Penske won the race, won the championship, and won in possibly your last race with Team Penske. You get a podium.
I don't know. I'll tell you the truth. First of all, I want to thank Verizon and, you know, the LTE Advanced Network. It's unbelievable. You know, we have as good as a car as their network, so it's pretty awesome. You know, our home car today was pretty good. We struggled a little in race-based qualifying, was really good, but it was good. We got a podium and a good finish. We'll see, you know, but next year, I don't know. There's still a possibility to be here. You know, it's everywhere. I really want to be in IndyCar and see what happens.
This is your best finish since all the way back in Detroit. How would you rank your season overall?
I mean, the first part of the season was really good, and then just couldn't get a break. You know, every time we ran good, you know, oh, we can go longer, the caution would come out. Oh, we're running great, the engine would break. Oh, I make a couple mistakes, so we would fumble in the pits. But, you know, we went together, we lose together, and I want to thank everybody else that supported the program, you know, Hawk Performance, PPG, the DeVilvis, you know, all the sponsors, they did an amazing job with us this year.
Another season in the books for Juan Montoya. Lee?
Yeah, good run. That's a nice way to finish it off, isn't it? Connie there by his side. So, well done to JPM, and who knows what the future holds. So he said, I don't know, we'll find out. Let's hope that no matter what team he's in, he's part of the Verizon IndyCar season in 2017. Jan?
And here's a great family shot. Elio Castro-Neves with his daughter Michaela, giving Daddy a hug for finishing third in the championship. You had a good battle there going first with Marco Andretti, but then had a couple moments fighting with Josef.
Yeah, I have to say, first of all, congrats, Simon. Well deserved, no question. Through the entire season, he not only an amazing driver, but a champion. So really honored to be working a guy like that, and a super nice guy. It's funny because they say French guys are not so good, but let me tell you, this guy, it's proving, it's actually changing everything. Great guy, great to work. Will as well, another season for Team Penske. And third, man, even Montoya as well, a whole group. It was a dream team to work, and today was a proof of that. Obviously, we tried to go for the win. We didn't want to finish the position that we might have finished in second, third, fourth. You know, we want to try for the win. Unfortunately, they ended up upsetting us, but you know, third in the championship, and yes, the battle. I was going for it. The car was so good, especially on the braking, man. You know when you feel like, I'm going for it. I don't care. I made a little mistakes with Josef. Obviously, I didn't want to put ourselves, me and himself, in a bad situation. But thank God, when you finish behind, you will get third in the championship. So, just want to thank the Verizon fans, everyone. Let me tell you, this season it's over. It's sad. We're all sad, but. I can't wait for next year to start already. Special, the things that you start finding. For us in our Group 3, we didn't get a win, but let me tell you, today finished 1, 2, 3. It's like a win for everyone. So thanks, Roger, again. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, NBC. Again, my car was like a Verizon 4G LTE network. It was awesome, guys. Let me tell you, next year we're coming back stronger than ever. And I want to thank as well the sponsors, all the partners that we have, you know, Rev Group, AAA, Shell, Verizon, SKF, Hitachi. I mean, everyone, all the partners, I appreciate the incredible support. We can't thank it. I want to say hello to my family as well, my friends, Michael. We're gonna go back, and now I'm allowed to drink wine. Can I drink wine now? You want to drink wine with me?
Yes, I think we need to wrap this up so we can talk to a few other drivers. Elio Castroneves, never short for words. Katie?
Ryan Hunter-Reay finished 4th in the season finale. And Ryan, first I got to ask you, you had a pretty great battle with your rookie teammate there at the end. What do you think of him?
Oh, it was a lot of fun running with Alexander today. You know, I had a start that did us in. Just got a little bit wide, and 2 cars got by us. I got stuck behind Newgarden on that first stint, really hurt us, and then you know, I had to work the whole race to get up to Alexander, and we were both saving fuel there at the end, conservation of the tires, and we saved a little bit more than he did, I guess, and got by him. It was nice to have a decent finish today, but if we're not stepping on top of the podium, we're not really doing the job. So we need to go back, work on it, and it's been a tough season at times. A lot of missed opportunities, but we haven't done the job sometimes, and we need to redouble our efforts. But end of the season here in Sonoma, and I want to say hi to my family at home, send my love to my wife Becky and my sons Ryden, Roxon, and Rhodes. Be home soon. We'll FaceTime on our Verizon 4G LTE iPad. It'll be soon. I'll call you, I promise.
And we're all, of course, thinking of Ryan and his family this week.
Alex, Rookie of the Year, hell of a season, brother. Just talk about what your expectations were and how the thing turned out for you.
My expectations were higher than that, for sure. But, you know, if we look at where we came from St. Pete, you know, the whole Andretti Autosport, Castrol Edge, Honda, we made big steps forward. I mean, we struggled to be on the lead lap in St. Pete, and here we were fighting in the top 5. And, you know, it's our best results outside the Indianapolis 500. So we ran out of fuel in the last corner there. We ran out of fuel here. So I guess we were right on the right end of the stick of this one. But, you know, at the end of the day, it was a strong result. It was great to be able to do that for Alarm.com in the final race of the year.
And you picked up ovals very well.
Yeah, no, we did. Ovals are tricky, man. Ovals are something that I'm still working up to, and something that takes some getting used to. And you know, I think it's been good because our package has been good and our car has been really strong, and all of the support that we've gotten from you know, our partners in Verizon and everything has been super good. But it's still areas we need to work on for sure. So hopefully in the future we can be back and show what we're capable of.
Okay, I just said on television about an hour ago that Roger Penske wants you now.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. But you know, I'm just trying to do the best job that I can and wake up each day and put my best out there. And sometimes that's not good enough. But you know, other times I can come away fairly satisfied. And today I think I can, and we'll have to look and see where the future takes us.
Good job, kid. Lee.
Thank you, Robin. Before we look at the future, we're going to take a look at the past and tell you about who did what as far as championships won. Take a look at this over the last 15 years. And that was just Penske's 3rd over the last 15. That's why the captain's so pleased and relieved. It's been quite the afternoon, quite the weekend here in Sonoma, California to wrap up the Verizon IndyCar Series for 2016. Spectacular fashion, with the champion also being the race winner here on the undulating circuit, Sonoma Raceway. Let's take you back to the start. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was a Penske sweep at the start of this 85-lap race. Let's push forward, though, into this one to show you where things started to get pretty interesting. Lap 17, Townsend, and this is where Will Power was able to sweep around Elio Castroneves.
Power makes a move on his teammate as Castroneves just a little bit slower on the pit stop sequence. Power to the front, but then trouble stepped in for Will Power. Lap 36, gearbox control unit failure. Just stranded at idle, could not find a gear, and that was the end of the championship for Power.
Went down 8 laps in total, finally made it back out on track, but the damage was already done. And the man who was fighting for the championship at the end of the 85th lap was still out in front. Pagenaud doing it in style, to the great delight and pleasure of his family who have traveled over from France to watch this delightful young fellow win the title. PT, the points, look at that. Did it easily in the end.
Easily, it's a 1-2-3 for Penske in his 50th anniversary of IndyCar racing. Josef Newgarden coming back from that injury mid-season. Massive crash in Texas. sitting out second event of Texas to come home in fourth, and Graham Rahal improved steadily at the end of the year for top 5.
And look at that. Guys and teams like Ed Carpenter Racing and Rahal Letterman Lanigan being ahead of the likes of Scott Dixon and Tony Kanaan and Juan Pablo Montoya. That's a huge boost.
Think about this. If Roger Penske signs Newgarden, he'd have the top 4 drivers in the championship in his stable for next year. And speaking of Josef Newgarden, let's head back downstairs.
Yes, he's made his way back to the trailer for Ed Carpenter Racing. And yes, what a great shout out for the team and for you, the Iron Man who came back from a crash that many people probably couldn't get back in a car. Best career championship finish. That's got to feel good.
Well, I think we feel great about it. You know, it would have been nice to get Elio there. I was doing everything I could. The team was working as hard as they could to make that points possible. We missed it by just a bit, right? We were right there, and I was trying to hold him back in case, you know, someone maybe would have broken down in front of us. I think that would have changed the point structure a little bit, swayed it our way to be third in the championship. And you know, either way, I still think we had a great season. I mean, Fuzzy Zvaka, ECR, I can't say enough about the group. We've really had an amazing team effort here, and all year long with all the trials and tribulations we had to go through, I think you know, everyone pulled through when we needed to midsummer, and we got back on the horse, got a win, kept fighting and pounding on the front door, and you know, I think we nearly got there in the end. So there's nothing for us to hang our heads about this year.
You talk a lot about how much you love this team and how you fit here. Will you be here next year?
Oh, all I can say is I'm so happy to finally be to the final race. It's been a crazy year. I'm going to actually enjoy some off-season time. You know, it's always weird to say that because you want to be at the racetrack. It's the best place to be, but I'm so excited to get a couple weeks off, and I think this crew deserves it. Everyone's going to have a good break, and excited to see you know, where everyone lands in a little bit from now, but I love this team. I can't say anything but great things about it. I love working here. I've got everything that I could ask for from a boss and from a team, and so it's been a pleasure to be a part of this group all year.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thanks.
Katie?
Max Chilton finishes 16th in the season finale of his rookie year. Max, how are you different now than you were in St. Pete?
I've definitely learned a lot more. You know, good drivers have been doing this for 15, 20 years. They're as professional as it gets, and they'll tell you that they never stop learning. So I've learned a great deal switching from Formula One to coming out here, mainly on the ovals. But it's hard racing over here. It's very equal. You have to be at the top of your game to be fast. And today we had a problem at the start with an engine problem for until we stopped. And then we were, I think, the fastest car out there with Pagano. We kept sort of mixing positions. And then something happened after the safety car. We just didn't have the pace. But you know, it was an up and down day. Hugely thankful for having my first year out here with Chip Ganassi and Gallagher, and hopefully be back next year to see a bit more of you.
And you learned a lot from your mentor, Dario Franchitti, an IndyCar champion. What's the #1 thing that you can take away from this season from him?
A huge deal. You know, having Dario on my pit stand all year is a huge help. Even those times when he just comes on the radio in the race and gives you a bit of support or advice, it tends to work. And so, you know, that's invaluable. And hopefully I'll have him next year. And yeah, you know, he's a friend for life. It's a big help.
Max is a great addition to the Verizon IndyCar Series, Lee.
Katie, thank you very much. And there is the man himself, Dario Franchitti, chatting with Will and Liz Power. And it's been terrific. Even though he's not in the driving suit and helmet anymore, it's just great to have Dario around at the majority of the rounds for the Verizon IndyCar season. They're debriefing. Meanwhile, the Pagano party has begun.
Welcome back to live coverage from Sonoma Raceway, where Victory Lane is going on, and Simon Pagano has just been crowned the new Verizon IndyCar Series champion. But I am down here with Charlie Kimball, who in his 100th start in the Verizon IndyCar Series finishes 9th. Charlie, how do you gauge your 100th start?
Well, my first start, I finished in the wall, so
this is definitely an improvement.
Yeah, you'd think after 100 starts I'd know how to get out of pit lane, but to come away with a top 10, that's kind of been the story of our year this year. We've been really consistent, and getting a top 9 to finish the year, and you know, it's good. It's good for the number 83 car. It's good for the Novo Nordisk team. But the fact that Chip Ganassi Racing was not in the championship conversation coming into this weekend, it's not good enough for us as a team. So I think as we go into the off-season and head into the winter, we've got a lot of work ahead. I think all 4 crews are going to work together. We'll be back stronger next year, and I don't know if that's a good thing for everyone else, but I know it's going to be a good thing for us.
And yeah, now Charlie is headed on a trip around the world.
Well, speaking about around the world, Sébastien Bourdais, of course, the Frenchman who is a 4-time champion in IndyCar. Today, a top 10, 10th for you, but you said very physically demanding day.
I think it was just about as mentally difficult as it was physically. We just didn't have it today. You know, we struggled a bit all weekend. We seemed to kind of make it happen on one lap for once on reds. So I was kind of pumped, but race pace was really pretty weak. We tried to take care of those Firestone tires, which degraded pretty quick for us, and we just killed the grip, and you know, didn't really have anything for us. So it is what it is. You know, we tried, and it didn't work out.
It's been written in many places. This would be your last race here. Is that the case?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely pretty up in the air here at KVSH. I don't know what's going to happen, but you know, well, we'll see. It's just been a great 3 years, and you know, I really enjoyed my environment. I really enjoyed working with Jimmy, Sully, and Oli, and all these guys. So we'll see how things shake out.
Well, we thank you for all the memories you've given us. It's been pretty awesome this year, and a win for the team as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not been consistent as we would have liked it to be, you know, to be a contender in the championship, but, you know, we've had some good days, a couple of top 5s, and that win at Detroit, that in the background, you know, of Chevy, so couldn't be any happier about that, but, you know, we'll try and come back stronger next year.
Enjoy your off-season.
Thank you.
Sébastien Bourdais has done some terrific work with KVSH Racing over the years and provided victories as well. And as we take you back for the unofficial results of the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma, Pagenaud, Rahal, Montoya, the podium place getters. Ryan Hunter-Reay, happy to finish on a high, but not happy enough. And then Rossi and Newgarden, Castro Neves, that battle was fantastic. Marco Andretti with a bit of a turnaround performance, which was good to see him in the top 10. And then Kimball and the man we heard from, Sébastien Bourdais. And let's hope we see Michaela Lotion back in 2017 as well.
Yeah, I mean, tough season for James Hinchcliffe. Some highs, but not the consistency he would like. Tony Kanaan, a hot prospect for next year as he might move teams. Not a great day for them. But some of these other guys, Paul, it's you know, back to the drawing board, trying to figure out if they can come back in this championship and come back strong.
Yeah, we've got some new young blood coming in, R.C. Enerson, and we don't know what's going to happen with Jack Hawksworth. We don't know if it's the end of the road for him or if he gets another opportunity.
That's what 2017 looks like for the Verizon IndyCar Series. Do you like the look of it? Looks pretty entertaining to me.
I like the repetition, the consistency of schedule and date. Everybody at IndyCar did a great job. Jay Fry and Mark Miles, excellent job to find stability. A new event in St. Louis in late August, and it all winds up back here in wine country, September 17th here in Sonoma.
Sometimes it takes series time to have what is a feel-good factor for the season finale. I think it feels right here in Sonoma.
It certainly does, and that certainly helps things. The winery in the background, you can find us over there later. Maybe we'll see this guy, Simon Pagenaud. He'll have plenty on offer.
A champagne shower for the champion, and what a day and what a feeling that must be for this guy. He came to America, won an Atlantic championship back in the Champ Car days, went to sports car racing, another championship, and now he is an Indy Series champion.
He told me, Simon did earlier this year, what a big deal it was to win his first race for Roger Penske at Long Beach. Yeah. He felt that we maybe didn't even realize what a major moment that was in his life, because it's the team he always wanted to drive for. To deliver like he has in the second half of this season has got to just feel terrific. Roger Penske's 13th driver championship.
Got to tell you, it's taken a little bit longer than what we had expected to do the champions ceremony with Kevin Lee and of course Simon, but you will be able to see that in the upcoming show, which is Victory Lap, NASCAR Victory Lap, when we are wrapped up here from Sonoma. Guys, we're almost out of time. Quick thoughts on the year.
Well, it's just been a sensational season, great competition, huge effort from the drivers and teams, and a big thanks to our entire NBC team for making it happen.
Amazing year, up and down for some, but total dominance and consistency by Simon Pagenaud. Massively impressed. Amazing championship.
And on behalf of the entire NBCSN IndyCar team, we thank you for being with us each and every weekend. At the beginning of every season, there is so much hope, there is so much drive, there is so much passion. Some deliver it and some don't, and some get to do this at special places on significant days. and some get to do it as rookies. The veterans prevailed and had happy times. They've learned a lot, and they're building on their futures. Some champions staged huge comebacks and signature moments. Youth is on the side of the Verizon IndyCar Series with great young American talent and spectacular finishes under the lights glittering. It has been yet again an amazing season. The stars prevailed and there's a new champion. Congratulations, Simon Pagenaud. Sonoma Raceway in California belonged to Team Penske. Simon Pagenaud today, the 32-year-old Frenchman, led 76 of the 85 laps in front of his family, who made the trip over from France to be crowned the 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series champion. And to do that crowning right now, we send it to Kevin Lee.
Thank you, Lee. This is the 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series World Championship celebration. Thanks for joining us here at Sonoma Raceway. We'll hear from the champion and the championship team coming up in just a moment. But first, what about the manufacturer that powered them? For the 5th consecutive year, Chevrolet powers the Verizon IndyCar Series champion. And let's bring out Mark Kent from Chevrolet. Congratulations, Mark. 14 of the 16 races this season were won by Chevrolet. What's the significance of that for your group?
Well, the significance is it's, first of all, our 5th consecutive manufacturer championship, so it's outstanding. But I think the real significance is the teamwork. Every one of our Chevrolet drivers contributed to this championship. So to all of them, as well as our technical partners and IndyCar for the opportunity to compete in this great series, Chevrolet extends a big thank you.
Congratulations. Great work this season.
Thank you very much.
Mark Kent from Chevrolet. All right, let's meet the man of the hour and really of the season. The 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series Championship winner is Simon Pagenaud from Team Penske. And Simon is soon going to be awarded this magnificent trophy, the Astor Cup, which represents and recognizes every IndyCar champion since 1909. Congratulations, Simon. We talked briefly in Victory Lane. How much did you want to finish this off with a win? You didn't have to win the race, but you did in dominating fashion.
Well, I mean, it's always difficult situations. You never know what's going to happen, and my goal was to take my destiny in my hands, and my team was behind me. Everybody was really strong today. There was no real emotion. We just kept it really cool, really calm, and that's what racing is all about. You need to, it's such a roller coaster kind of life that you need to be able to be calm when it's a storm and go through it. So thanks to all my team, you know, the champs, the 22 champs, the guys, the crew, the guys coming up on stage right now. You can't do it without these guys. It's me, obviously, driving, shining on the track, but they make it possible. I can't thank them enough, and obviously, thanks to Roger and Team Cindric for the opportunity to be here.
Exactly. Let's bring out the man who gave you your dream job about a year and a half ago. 50th season as a car owner, celebrating Team Penske's 50th anniversary, the captain, Roger Penske, with his 14th IndyCar championship. Simon Pagenaud is the 9th different driver to win a championship from Team Penske. It started with Tom Sneva in 1977. Roger, well, you took away a little bit of the suspense because you knew somebody was going to get it done, but still, the significance.
Well, I think to see this year for our team is amazing, and you know, the 10 victories and the pole positions and the teamwork throughout the team was amazing. Obviously, Simon executed at the highest level and won the championship, but I want to thank Verizon for sponsoring this series, and certainly Hewlett Packard Enterprises, John Menard, and many of the people at PPG that follow our team, and Chevrolet. What a great see there at the end to see that fuel economy. But it's a team effort, and Simon, you're a great guy, and this team up here is amazing. Billy, your whole team, I want to give you guys just a congratulations for a job well done.
Congratulations, Team Penske. Roger Penske, Simon Pagenaud. And now let's give out the hardware. We bring up from Holman and Company, Mark Miles. And from IndyCar, and also the chairman and CEO of Verizon Communications, Lowell McAdam, is here, and they are going to present the Astor Cup. But first, a quick thought from Mark Miles on this 2016 championship, Mark.
Thanks, Kevin. Hey, everybody.
What a great year for race fans. The 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series was just growth and great excitement. We want to thank Lowell McAdam and everybody at Verizon. They're the best sponsor we could imagine. They care about the fans and they work with us to improve our presentation all the time. What do you say about Team Penske in their 50th year, totally dominating this year? 14 championships, Roger. It's a heck of a way to celebrate 50 years. And then there's this champion we're about to hand this big cup to. Simon Pagenaud, dominant, really. 5 wins, 3 second-place finishes, so half of our races, first or second, led more laps by a long shot than anybody else. And he is a wonderful guy and a great ambassador for the sport. We're so proud of him, and we're looking forward to trying to hand this off to him.
Let me get out of the way. You help Lowell out as well. Lowell, you take the lead here, presenting the Astor Cup, recognizing the Verizon IndyCar Series World Champion, Simon Pagenaud, a first-time IndyCar champion, celebrates at Sonoma Raceway.